Yo, what's up, everybody? I think we are live. Look, I'm gonna keep telling y'all, me and technology don't get along. So whenever I come on here and I say I think we are live on whatever platform, I'm not being hyperbolic. I am being very, very genuine. I'm gonna tell y'all a funny story. So I was looking at my horoscope the other day. My homeboy sent it to me. He said, "This would be good information for you." And it's rare that people send me something about my horoscope that I don't know. So I was looking through and it said, "Yeah, man. So you got a lot of energy." I actually burn hot. Y'all, for those of you who've been watching my show for a long time, y'all know I do prefer warm temperatures. However, there is a downside that comes to that. Your boy is a sweater. It's something that comes. I mean, I sweat. My nephew sweats. My brother sweats. My son probably gonna sweat. Like it's just part of our genes. I don't know what it is, but I sweat more definitely than everybody in my family. And it's not like I'm fat or something like that. It's just a thing. But I found out in my horoscope, it literally says, "Yeah, man, you got so much energy that you literally are burning it off. Like, so when you sleep, you're gonna sweat more than usual." And because of how much excess energy you have, technology will always mess up around you. Unfortunately, it is a truism of your existence. And bro, when I tell you, y'all know what's my favorite phrase when it comes to technology? Technology is undefeated. That's my favorite because it's true. It's true in general, but with me, apparently it's a astrological certainty, which is not really cool. But it's supposed to be because there are people who feed off of my excess energy in order for them to go on through their day because they don't necessarily have that type of energy to handle the things they need to handle in their lives. So it was just it was funny to me when I read that shit, bro. I was like, that's crazy because all of it's true. Be sweating my ass off and technology hates me. The more technology I get, the more it hates me. Now I feel like they're conspiring. So when I say I think we're live, I'm being dead ass serious. I think that we're live on YouTube, Rumble, Rockfin, and Twitter. Make sure y'all like this video. Make sure y'all share this video. We have a great show for you today. We're gonna have some fun today. As much fun as we can with this dystopian universe that we live in. If you have not yet, make sure y'all subscribe to my Telegram channel. Matter of fact, I'm gonna go ahead and put it in there. I know it's in my description, but y'all hard headed. Y'all don't like going to the description. Oh, don't even delete that. Let me actually get my Telegram link. I'm posting it in my YouTube chat. Boom, bing bong, right there. We got 31 people watching right now. We should have 31 likes on this video. We got a crazy show. Crazy show. I found out yesterday at some point that because one of my parents is of Caribbean descent, distantly, I might add. I'm not black, so that was cool. That was funny. I've been enjoying entertaining myself from that. I found out that people only come to the States because El Salvador sucks and they aren't escaping rampant imperialism. They're just here because they just want to leave everything they've ever known and love to be in the States because it's just a little bit better to pick fucking strawberries for 2 cents on the dollar. I mean, yesterday, the last couple days really, but definitely yesterday, the last couple of days have been very eye-opening. I took so much time out of the game that I forgot how fucking stupid the world is. I know that sounds crazy to say, but like, I guess with so much time off, I was hoping, yo, man, maybe, just maybe, people have gotten their shit together a little bit. Just maybe. I was wrong. In fact, I would make an argument that people have gotten stupider over the last year or so since I took a hiatus. Desde eu tirei fogo de trabalho. I thought that people got a little bit smarter or empathetic, given everything that we've just collectively gone through. But it's, once again, I just feel like it's gotten worse. Let's do some shout outs and then we're gonna get started. Warren West says, my clock says 11:02. So your central time, I imagine. That's what that sounds like. Matt John, y'all know what's crazy? One of the hardest things about work-wise transitioning to Rio is, y'all know, for all my lifelong, for my MCSC people that have come along on this journey to For the People podcast, y'all know I love my early morning streams. I'm an early morning guy. I wake up at about 6 in the morning. I used to get up 5:30 usually, work out to about 6:37, do whatever research I need to do for the day, and I'm streaming by 9:30 for the first stream, right? I had to hold off doing Mimosa Mondays until about 11 because most of y'all weren't even awake, but I really love my morning streams. But if I do a morning stream here at 7 in the morning, it's 4 a.m. in some places. It's 5 a.m. in the East Coast, 4 a.m. Central, and what, 2 in Pacific? Yeah, it sucks. I ain't gonna lie, that part sucks because I hate the afternoons. 2 a.m. is nap time for me, but I'm adjusting. Matt John, what's going on? Blessings, ceasefire now, absolutely. Lotfi or Lotfi Eldon? Ceasefire, Lithium 19. 2022 is when people totally lost it. Yeah, people totally lost it in 2022, but you could also make an argument that like people had lost it prior to 2022, but they're a lot louder on social media about the marbles that they have lost. And that's like the biggest difference. Danya Manola Barakal. Sagar is brown. Does he have a mirror? Look, man, we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it. That's actually going to be the first topic we discuss because, boy, look. It was embarrassing, man. It was embarrassing. And by the way, even though Sagar's a Republican, I've actually had a lot of respect for Sagar in his willingness to accept certain narratives or certain facts that were opposite of the ones that he had been previously taught about the left, about independent leftists. I've, celebrated his willingness to challenge the neoconservative establishment at times. I'm not one of those people. Y'all know me. I'm not one of those people where I have to completely agree with you to respect your positions, right? But then there's this, like I said, there's this lately. It's really been lately. I don't know what's going on, man. Must be something in the water or something in them jabs. But nah, really, real talk. Lately, there has been this deliberate ignorance that's been festering throughout social media, YouTube, whatever. It's been deliberate ignorance. Deadass, like, I don't even know how to explain it, but through clips. That's why I usually don't. Y'all remember back in the day, I didn't even play that many clips. But I can't even really put into words half the time how stupid the shit people are saying has become. And this is just one of those examples. Danya said, Niko, you should do a show with RBN when you guys talk about the model minority myth. We have. You know what? That's a good idea. I'm going to talk to them, boy. I got Jay coming on tomorrow, right? I'm going to talk to Jay about that tomorrow. That'd be a good topic. I'm going to talk about it a little bit today, too. Because there's a couple of things that we can touch on when it comes to the model minority myth, which is, one, we know there is generally one or two groups associated with the model minority myth, right? If you're living in Miami, maybe 3. But also, people think that the model minority myth is limited to those particular groups when we know that there are some Black people who they do their best job to pretend like, nah, we're different. No, you're not. But y'all know I just found out that Anita Hill endorsed Joe Biden. Boy, I was heartbroken. I didn't know that. I did not know that. I knew I checked out a 2024 recent. Spider-Man and his amazing friends. Jon Stewart, overrated as a progressive. I'll take that bet. Phil Donahue is the GOAT. Robert Burns. Hey, Niko, still watching Kit. Tell my man I said what's up. Stop by when you get a chance. Stop by when you get a chance. I ain't going nowhere. Got a long show today. So, before we get started with our first topic, I wanted to propose a question to you guys, a philosophical question, because it's something that my friends and I had talked about at great lengths, because we feel that it influences your ability to perceive what is around you from a perspective outside of your own. And it also gives you the ability to perceive yourself correctly, rather than perceiving yourself from a place of ego. And it's not like people do it like, oh man, I'm the shit, and therefore I view this particular topic this way. That's not what I mean by ego. Ego is also oftentimes used to protect ourselves from truth, because truth hurts. It does. It is used to protect ourselves from the truth because of the effect the truth can have on our social circles, on our relationships with our families, and our view of the work we do, all that type of stuff. So the question I have for you all is, do you consider yourself a person who just has thoughts? Or do you consider yourself an observer of your thoughts? And what do I mean by that? What I mean is, are you a person who has a thought and then you just accept that thought for what it is and just go on about your business? For example, I'm very fond of very colorful shirts like these. Y'all know I like some exotic stuff. I've always liked it, really since I was in middle school or high school, but especially as I grew up. And it's a lot of the times people would always joke and say, hey man, like you got a weird style, right? And I just kind of like shrugged it off. Like, yeah, I do. It is what it is. But then eventually you hit to a certain point where you're like, if you're, self-aware enough, you get to a certain point where you're like, yo, why do I have such a unique style as compared to the people around me? Right? Why do I not care that I have a unique style? Like, why is this not a thought in my mind while I'm getting dressed, buying clothes? Because the fact that someone else is saying you have a weird, unique style probably means they might like whatever I'm wearing on me, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they would like it for themselves. So what made me be okay with wearing what I'm wearing? And someone made a joke to me one day. He wasn't joking, but he was joking. When I say he wasn't joking, I mean he was upset because somebody complimented me and the girl liked him. Or he liked the girl rather, and he was upset about it that she complimented me. He said, you can only pull off stuff like that because you're black. I was like, what? That's not, I mean, a lot of my black friends really can't pull this off. And my black friends also tell me that. And then at that point, I had to take a step back and think to myself, yo, do my clothes compliment me in some unique way that I'm subconsciously aware of, but never really consciously articulate, even to myself? And I began to realize that I love the way my clothes match my skin tone. That's actually because of when I was growing up, I didn't have, there's different categories of black people. I know this sounds kind of crazy to you guys, but there are. And it's beyond dark skin, light skin, even though that's where all the beef tends to lie. There's a subcategory, a third category, if you will. It's called red bone. That's what I fall in. That is the category that I fall in. I have been a red bone my entire life. Okay? I'm not light skinned. My brother always called me light skinned. He get mad at me like, man, you light just like I am, bro. Me and you are not the same color. We go back and forth about that all the time. Me and my sisters are not the same color. My brother and my other youngest brother is white. So, like just wearing black, it's cool, but it doesn't really highlight anything about me, right? And so I realized that I could get away with wearing certain colors and certain patterns that other people could not. And that's the reason why I like wearing those colors. And I never really thought about it until somebody brought that very specific point up. And it made me take a step back and be like, no, that's not true. My black friends always say I could never pull that shit off. So it has to be something else. So then later on, my other friend posed that question to me and he said, yeah, I would consider you an observer of your thoughts. And what that means is, politics-wise, why do I consider myself a leftist? How did I get into that, or independent-minded leftist at that? How did I put myself or end up in that particular bubble? And that's like some people just say, oh, because of the issues. Yeah. But then you have to consider the fact that there are a lot of people who talk about, who are very much aware of the facts of the issues as you are. And yet they call themselves maybe a libertarian. Maybe they call themselves conservative. Maybe they call themselves liberal. Right? A lot of the time you have to, in my case, I have to be like, okay, yeah, there are a lot of people who see the facts and know the facts, but I actually acknowledge the facts. So that's one factor. So I'm not just a leftist for aesthetic. It's because I acknowledge the reality. Right? Am I one of the leftists that become leftists because, generally speaking, leftists come from marginalized communities? At least that's how it used to be. Right? And therefore, growing up, they don't have community a lot of the time, especially in this modern social media. And I would say this primarily applies to some millennials, right? There are a lot of people in the Bernie movement from 2016 that were a part of that movement, not because of what they believed in, but because they had friends for the first time and they were popular for the first time. They had girlfriends from the movement and boyfriends from the movement, and they established these relationships. That wasn't me. I had friends growing up, so that I never really thought about using a movement to extend my network. Maybe I should have, but I didn't, right? But I realized that was also, that doesn't apply to me, but then I realized that's a vulnerability of the leftist movement, right? They can be easily divided into cliques, and it becomes about the clique rather than the issue because of this historic pattern of leftists being marginalized and that leading to them becoming leftists, right? So, but that wasn't me. So I'm like, okay, cool. But what does it mean? Like, then it's like, okay, well, now let's take it to like Second Amendment, right? My leftist on Second Amendment? Yeah, actually. But I had to go through a whole exercise for that. Why? Because the Second Amendment in the States is generally attributed to what side of the political spectrum? Conservative. But I'm not conservative. I'm not. I'm not a conservative person. But in my opinion, liberty means leftism. Challenging your government is about the most leftist stance you can take, although it has been associated with being conservative. But the reality is conservatives are more likely to kiss the government's ass if it serves their agenda as much as the liberals are. It's like, okay, so let's think of some of the great thought leaders of the left. Fred Hampton, pro-gun. Che Guevara, pro-gun. Marx, pro-gun. Fidel Castro, pro-gun. Nicolas Maduro. Nicolas Maduro as well. Nelson Mandela. I mean, I won't say he was pro-gun, but he was damn sure pro-fight the government however you have to. So I'm like, oh, I have a leftist mentality when it comes to guns, but the U.S. is conditioned to believe, for whatever reason, that's a different conversation, that being pro-gun means you're a conservative. Right? And the reason I propose this question to you guys today is because I've realized that over the course of my, I guess I used to say short career, but I guess it's not really short anymore. I started in 2016. Over the course of my career, that a lot of the times I'm having conversations with you based off of a perspective of me observing my thoughts, breaking them down, and then saying them out loud to you, sometimes with the clarity of providing like the breakdown. But a lot of the times I'm like, no, how do y'all not come to this conclusion? And I realized, oh shit, there's a lot of people that are not really actually thinking about why they're not thinking about their thoughts. They're not breaking down or analyzing why they are having those thoughts, why they are perceiving their thoughts the way that they are perceiving them. You get what I'm saying? My last thing on this is funny because my mom, me and my brother have this, which everybody has to some degree, but it's funnier because we are hyper aware of how much we are like our mom in some of the great ways. Like the reason I'm a great public speaker is because my mom is a great public speaker. The reason that I was so great in retail whenever I did do retail, even though I didn't even really like doing retail. But it was because my mom was one of those people who was detail oriented and just was ultra competitive with everything. My mom doesn't realize that part of the reason that we're so competitive at video games is because when we were growing up, my mom played video games and really any game, but she loved video games when we were growing up and she hated losing. Not only that, she hated having sons that lost. Look, like, yo, don't let us lose to anybody in front of her or it's going to be a problem, right? But then we realized as we got older, right? So my brother has kids and he's married. He would say, hey, go turn this off or go. If my nephew asked for something, no. Why not? Because I said so. And what's crazy is he does the exact same face and would do the exact same voice as my mom. And that used to piss us off. Like, what do you mean? Because I said so. That is not a reason. I need to understand the logic and thought process behind this so I can execute the task with utmost proficiency, right? But we fell into this habit of, because I said so. I'm an adult and I said so. What do you mean? And that's not actually healthy. So we had to, me and my brother literally talk to each other about this very specific thing. Like, yo, why do we do that? It's like, because of mom. Mom used to do that shit to us. That's not healthy. That's not good. She can't, and then she would get mad if we, whatever she asked us to do, if we did it the wrong way. And the reason we did it the wrong way, because after she would say that, we're looking at each other like, so how does she want us to get this done? Because the reason we asked, it wasn't because we were challenging her authority. We were just trying to understand that whatever she was asking for, like that she was getting the result that she was looking for, right? Because sometimes you're looking for a result, but you're asking the wrong method in order to achieve the goal. So now I'm doing what you told me to do. You get the wrong result, and now you're blaming me for the shit. That's what happens, right? We have that. Everybody deals with that. Everybody deals with that. But that's how we end up having these miscommunications in politics, these misunderstandings in politics where we believe somebody isn't genuine, but they actually are genuine, but they have arrived at a conclusion because they had a thought that just immediately translated into a conclusion, right? They didn't have the thought because and sometimes it's a little bit overwhelming. I'll admit it, but it's definitely the way to not be an idiot. It's definitely a way to have empathy for yourself and for those around you, but especially for yourself. You have a thought, then you're like, why did I have that particular thought? Oh, this person's cute. This person's ugly. Why do I think that person's ugly? Do I have a bias? What's the bias? Am I willing to overlook that bias in the case of certain situations? Stuff like that. And I just feel like it's really important for everyone. Some people may not be aware right now until I just asked that question. But it is very much so something that you all should ponder as we head into this election cycle, as we deal with all the bullshit for the future that we know is coming. Ask yourself, not like when you have a thought that's impactful, powerful, a thought that could lead to a reaction, especially those, which if you're on social media, most likely your thought is probably going to lead to a reaction. So the first question you should ask yourself is, why do I feel like that? Why do I think like that? Why do I feel so strongly about this thought that I'm having that I am forced to react? And then maybe if you do have that thought, you'll actually react the way you should rather than the way that your visceral emotions are telling you to. So food for thought. So for our first political topic of the day, now that we got all that knocked out, y'all are aware of Sagar and Jetty and Crystal Ball and Breaking Points and the fact that I think Sagar's Indian. Sometimes lately I can't really tell because, well, like I said, we said we was going to have that model minority conversation today. And shout out to my boy Franco, he posted a video. I don't know. Franco has always been one to catch videos of people saying shit that I just know I would never catch because I don't have the patience to listen to stupidity for an hour just to debunk 10 minutes of it. But luckily I got cool people like Franco who do and post them on Twitter. So Sagar said something about immigrants that made me question any evolution I thought that he had prior or excuse me, since 2019, 2020, and prior to recently. I thought that because Sagar admitted he used to be a neocon, and he began to evolve on the issues and stop being so neocon and started being a little bit more libertarian on issues, but definitely more anti-establishment. Okay, but this statement that he made, let me pull it up for you guys, had me like, dog, I used to have so much respect for you. And I wish it was just a difference of opinion type of situation, but it's not a difference of opinion type of situation. It's a like straight up, you have zero empathy. And it's like I got to where I got, and I'm pulling up the ladder. Fuck y'all. That's what it came up. It's the arrogance of it all. So let's hear what this man got to say. Once again, I'm gonna do my grandest effort to let him finish. Okay, grandest effort. Y'all don't judge me if I cut him off, because boy,
they had PhDs and master's degrees. It's not that easy for people to get. They had PhDs.
Yeah, y'all hear that starting out, right?
They had PhDs and master's degrees. It's not that easy for people to get a visa to this country. You can ask anybody who's like me. I think it's bullshit, frankly, that you can just cross the border, just say, I fear for my life because El Salvador sucks, and you get to stay here and you get to work for 5-10 years, liably never leave. The other case, and this is, look, you can call me racist if you want. Vast majority of people arriving here have no skills. We're lucky if they have a 5th grade reading level in Spanish, let alone in English. They're not educated in terms of the jobs that they're going to take. I mean, is it really fair to depress like wages for the lower class Americans?
It doesn't,
though. No, but absolutely.
I mean, the research.
This is supply
and I don't know where to start, people. I don't know where to start. But I guess we can start with the first comment. You know, there are people who are coming here with master's degrees and PhDs, and it's super hard to get a visa. Really? So I have a question. You think because a person has a master's degree or a PhD in academia, or rather, I would like to call academic bullshit, because it's not. Like you think you're a skilled worker because you have a PhD in reading bullshit that no one but you or one other person can understand, so you can sit in front of a class and tell other people bullshit about the shit that you just read? Like, exactly how is that contributing, practically speaking, to society? Out of curiosity. I'm genuinely, bro, how is a philosophy degree, how is that contributing to society, Sagar? They're so skilled. So Floyd Mayweather, most of you are very familiar with Floyd Mayweather. Y'all know he's illiterate, right? Floyd Mayweather, besides the boxing skill, is an astute businessman who has created jobs for hundreds of people and has taken hundreds of youth under his wing to help them, not only with their fighting skills, but also their business literacy. Is Floyd Mayweather not a skilled worker because he can't read past the 5th grade level? Out of curiosity. One of the most common jobs you'll see in California, Southern California, for example, mechanics, right? You'll see a lot of Mexicans and Latinos with mechanic shops. Bro, my father-in-law can take a BMW engine apart and put that shit back together without a manual. He also can do it with an airplane engine. That is not hyperbole. That's what he did. He didn't even have his visa when he first got to the States. But that was the last job he had before he moved out of California. Was literally repairing airplane engines. He's not the most proficient reader in Spanish, but he speaks pretty damn good Spanish, obviously. He speaks pretty damn good English. But I speak way better English than he does. I have a couple of degrees. I can't do that shit. I can't even follow the instruction in English to take a BMW engine apart. But what he does makes airplanes fly. Is that not a skill? Is that not a useful skill? Mechanics? Is that like not a useful skill, people? Being able to assemble a vehicle? Being willing to do the farming that spoiled ass Americans like Sagar would never do? Being willing to put in the physical labor for that? Is that not a skill? I get so frustrated with this argument that like, oh, you don't have a degree, therefore you don't have a skill. There are some things that are more technical than others. Like that's a duh. But bro, just because you have a fucking degree and you can talk cute doesn't mean that you're a skilled worker. It usually means the only thing that you're really skilled at is being a cog in the machine. Because having multiple degrees, like once again, guys, I'm telling you this as a person who graduated from one of the best schools in the country at UNC, University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, that UNC, one of the best research schools in the country, one of the best hospitals in the country, one of the best, I mean, you can go on the list. We're known for things more than, just having Michael Jordan and Vince Carter, like even though everybody usually goes to that. I'm telling you, the higher you go from master's to PhD, or we go from undergraduate, master's to PhD, the higher you go, the dumber you are because your focus narrows. You have to take all those things that you learned or would have learned, and you focus on one specific thing, and that is the focus of your master's thesis or your PhD. And then you have to focus on defending that, so that's a whole different thing. Your doctoral thesis and your master's thesis are about a specific thing. So you think because you wrote a fucking something basically long enough to be a book on one topic really, really well, that means you're a skilled worker with a wide range of talents? Come on, bro. Come on, bro. Beyond that, Saga, bro. Oh, El Salvador sucks, therefore I want to live in the U.S. That's why people are leaving. And also El Salvador is like a bad example because last I checked, their economy is doing pretty well. They're actually on the rise. And actually, I think that's because of Bitcoin. That's a different conversation for a different day. But really, bro, that's what it is. You think people are leaving the language that they know, their home, their family, their aunts, their uncles, their grandmas, their cousins, brothers, sisters, their network that they've known and grown up in. Sometimes a secure job. Sometimes they've gone to college, achieved a degree, and now when they go to the States, they have to be willing to accept everything I just did in El Salvador won't even count for shit. But, in that particular case, or Chile, or Ecuador, like it won't even count for shit. Because one, if I'm taking this risk of going there undocumented right now. Two, for some reason, Americans believe that their degrees are better than everybody else's. You think that's like people, it sucks, so I'm leaving. You know how many Americans know America sucks? And they're like, bro, I can't leave. Why? What am I going to do? Run to a country that America's going to fuck up even worse? Because that's why they're leaving and coming to the States. People don't leave Brazil to move to the U.S. because they like the U.S. better than Brazil. Do y'all know that? As a person who lives in Rio, as a person who has friends in both the United States and in Brazil, as a person who has a friend who married a Brazilian, their whole plan, because she is an orthodontist. She conducts surgery on teeth. She's brilliant. Learn English and everything. She was in the U.S. for 6 months, said, fuck this, can't do it, gotta go back. I'm not even joking. Brilliant. She had everything set up. My friend is good. He could get a great job wherever he goes in the world, really. She could be making $200,000, $250,000 a year. All she should do is take a couple classes for like a year or two to transition from a Brazilian orthodontist to a U.S. orthodontist. She was like, fuck that. We going back. He was happy. You know, he really didn't really want to go. He missed his family and friends. But like when he got there, he was hitting me up. Yeah, I miss it. And he's not even from here. When I leave to the U.S., I'm gone for 2 months. And I'm like, the first week, bro, I want to go back to Brazil. And these people are dealing with shit that I don't really deal with every day because of the privilege of being American while living here. But guy who was installing my air conditioner was saying like he has family who's left to the States and they only went to the States because they're like, bro, we had a point where the real was almost as much as $1. The U.S. destroyed that prospect. Now, anytime that the real is catching up to the dollar, the U.S. does something to basically make it so that it can't happen. So you're always playing from behind. The U.S. influences their elections. They put in Bolsonaro. This most recent time, the CIA put in Lula. He ain't done shit since he's been in. And they all know it, which is crazy. Their elections are mandatory. You got to vote if you're an adult. It's more secure, but at the end of the day, the candidates that are propped up are usually propped up by the U.S. And if you do manage to get a good candidate like Lula the first time around, before he got castrated politically, the U.S. does what they do. But he's like, they've moved to the U.S. not because of how much they love the U.S. They do their best to create a community of Brazilians, whether it be through restaurants, networking, businesses, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Family, friends, church. Because of how much they miss home. They don't want to fucking leave. But some people, it's better for them to leave. This particular guy is like, nah, it doesn't make any sense for me to leave. I'm just going to, like, yeah, there's some benefits, but like, ultimately, I'm going to be broke all the time with no chance to really catch up and do what he does here because he's pretty well off here. He's not rich here, but he has benefits here, his military benefits here. He has his own business that he does. And, if he goes to the hospital, he ain't going to go broke like the U.S. Right? You think these people leaving Mexico, El Salvador, Chile, Honduras, Haiti, because they want to? No, it's because the U.S. won't mind their fucking business. And the safest place from the barrel of a gun is behind the gun. The U.S. ain't about to overthrow themselves. Okay, that's maybe. I don't know. Overthrow themselves might be. Yeah, okay, so the U.S. might overthrow themselves, but you know what I mean. They're not going to commit a hard coup. The U.S. definitely will overthrow itself. But it's going to usually be through soft power tactics. Anyway, deconstructing topics. Thank you very much for the super chat, my friend. I did a podcast, how in NYC I always felt like migrants are used to destroy the Black community than to help them. The migrant issue, I believe, is manufactured to do harm to someone than in generally helping them. Of course. No, the migrant issue is 100% manufactured. It's 100% manufactured. You know how Joe Biden has somehow managed to fail in every single aspect of the immigration conversation. There's no way that's on accident. What I mean by that is he's arrested and put more kids in cages than any other president in history. And he did that shit in like the first 2 or 3 years. Okay? Simultaneously, he spent more money on the border than any other president in history. Did y'all know that? Yeah, that happened. But somehow, the border is also the most open that it's quote unquote open. It's not really open because people are getting arrested, but it's the most open that it's ever been at the same time. More people are getting arrested. More kids are being put in cages, but it's also simultaneously more open. And also, by the way, there are Haitian slaves in Rhode Island, or excuse me, not Rhode Island, New England. That's a thing. I don't know if y'all saw that video, but that's a thing. There's this idea that immigrants hurt the black community. I don't believe that that's necessarily the case. I think that there was a point at one point where there was a clash with, like, when I say immigrants, Latin America. I'm gonna be real with you guys. I don't know if people already had this conversation, but there was a point where certain classes of immigrants were hurting the black community. East Asian immigrants, Arab and Desi immigrants were able to hurt the black community to some degree. And why? And I don't mean that they were doing it on purpose. But they arrived during the height of redlining. They were able to arrive to the States with a credit score better than the black community. They were allowed to get loans, both home and business loans, in our communities and start businesses. Take out second mortgages on homes that we weren't allowed to take out. You start businesses in niches, in neighborhoods that we weren't allowed to have. Right? Taking scholarships and grants that otherwise we would have qualified for, but don't have the access to. They were allowed to have a network that we were never afforded the opportunity to have, or at least we weren't after, the 50s, 60s, and 70s. Right? They were allowed to have their money exchanged through their own hands. That's not, we just haven't been afforded that opportunity since that type of immigration started. So, like, there was a point where that was the case, but the immigration from Central South America, that's not really hurting us like that, bro. Because I know my friends, I know my family, they ain't picking strawberries for $1.50. Shit not happening. It is not happening. But, like, if you were a black mechanic in a black neighborhood and you had your clientele, a Mexican moving in 8 blocks away with other Mexicans that is going to a Mexican mechanic, like, it's not hurting your black clientele, bro. It's not hurting your black business. You get what I'm saying? That would be actually the same thing that happens in basically every community. Every community goes, if they are around each other in the metropolitan area, they tend to go where they feel comfortable, which is with their own people. It's like how, unfortunately, the truth is, when people kill each other, it's usually, you're most likely to kill who? Somebody that looks like you. It's just how it's always been. So there's a way to have this conversation, because, like, there has to be, the reason I feel like there has to be, I don't believe in open borders. Not because I don't believe in freedom of movement. It's not because I don't want open borders one day. I would love for the world to be able to do that. The problem is, though, however, we, the United States, be fucking everything up, and they don't take care of the people that live in the country right now. You destroy other people's countries, and then you don't take care of the people you have in your own country. So if we can't take care of the people we have in our own country at the moment, how are we going to then take on the responsibility of everyone else? Like, the math don't math is all I'm saying, right? If we weren't actively imploding and destabilizing other nations, I wouldn't have a problem with it. And also, if we weren't actively, that's the funny part, right? If we weren't actively destabilizing other nations, would they be immigrating in mass to the United States? So would the open border conversation be as divisive as it is if we didn't even have to have it? Because they don't want to fucking leave. You ever think about that? They don't want to leave. But overall, I was very disappointed. That was on some ladder up. Like, I got here, I'm gonna pull the ladder up. Oh, you know how hard it is to get the visa? Bro, it's hard for everybody. No, excuse me. You know what? It is hard to get a visa. It's hard to get a visa. But I promise you, it wasn't as hard for you as it is for a Haitian. I promise you. No matter how fucking educated you are, y'all gonna have the same education. Y'all gonna have the same grades, same degree, same potential. And I promise you, it is still harder for the Haitian to get approved than it is for you. It's not your fault that that's the case. I'm not saying that. But, like, let's not pretend that you didn't come from a country that are known for assimilating and playing the modern minority role. Right? Like, I don't judge. I'm not judging. I only judge when you try to pull the fucking ladder up. That's the only time I judge you. And that's what you're like, oh, I think it's bullshit. Why, bro? I think they think it's bullshit. That the only reason you had the opportunity to thrive in the way that you did is because of the specific minority that you came from. There wouldn't be, generally speaking, a heterosexual, millennial to middle-aged Haitian man that didn't sell out sitting across the table from Crystal Ball right now, if all things were equal. Can we all agree with that? There might be an exception to that rule, but that is exactly what it will and will always be, an exception to that rule, not the norm. Hell, I was born in the States, and I don't got the privileges that some of these minorities that come from nations like India or Pakistan or China, Korea. Like, I don't have those opportunities. I'm not saying they don't deal with their own set of problems, but I don't. No, sir. Hell no. No, sir. That is one of the reasons for the beef with those communities, like with the Black community and those respective communities. It's shifting and changing at the moment. But in the 90s, the beef was real. And I'm not saying it was justified, but it's like how when Irish people arrived, like, they weren't treated the same as other white people. You get what I'm saying? Like, you might be a minority, but there are levels to this minority shit when it comes to the experiences of a minority in the eyes of the U.S. system. So, yeah, man, I was very disappointed. Just very disappointed. I want to move on to the next topic. Y'all know y'all's favorite genocide. Oh, good God. Y'all's favorite genocidal nation got caught lying again in 4K. And it's kind of frustrating.
Been caught.
So we're gonna look at this video that I did for Hot Spot this year. If y'all are on X, go spam that video, retweet. Y'all know I got shadow banned probably because I kept calling out Elon Musk, but also a bunch of people who got who've not let up on talking about Israel and Gaza have been effectively shadow banned. Like, is what it is. But we can get through it if y'all help us out, right? So let's check out this video real quick.
Has been caught in Israel has been caught in yet another lie after claiming they have been sending aid to Gaza. On February 4th, Israel put this tweet out detailing all the aid they have been sending to Gaza, saying Israel will continue to facilitate the transfer of life-saving humanitarian aid to Gaza. Our war is with Hamas, not the people of Gaza. And they deleted the tweet. They deleted the tweet because Israel didn't send aid. The video isn't from Gaza, and it's from 2022. That aid is actually for Ukrainian refugees in Moldova. Y'all know what pisses me off? The fact that they're receiving billions of dollars of U.S. taxpayer money. They're committing a genocide unlike we have seen in modern history. And these motherfuckers got the living, unadulterated audacity to not even try with the propaganda that they're pushing. And yet people want to come to me and argue that this genocide is somehow justified based on lies like the ones that they just deleted off of Twitter. And by the way, Israel, if your war is with Hamas and not the innocent people of Gaza, then why have you killed more than 20,000 innocent women and children? Just curious. Here's something for you to ponder. If they're putting this little effort into the propaganda that they're pushing to legitimize their genocide, just imagine how little effort they're putting in to prevent civilians from being killed as a result of this war against Hamas.
Yeah, man. So what the hell? This is crazy because this information comes out right as we're hearing that the Democrats voted in mass to give more money to Israel. You know what's wild to me? We watched Tucker Carlson, y'all. We watched Tucker Carlson sit down with Vladimir Putin, but we didn't even get a chance to do that. First, what we saw was CNN, Hillary Clinton, even members of Fox News, MSNBC, all of the talking heads on Twitter. We were told, can't listen to that interview. Why? Putin's lying. Well, hold up real quick. He ain't really told the story yet. He hasn't even began to talk. The interview isn't for 2 more days. Yeah, fuck that. But he's lying and we know it. So you can't watch it. And we have to spend the next 2 days on multiple segments, on multiple shows, telling you he's lying. Because it's our duty to call him out. Because we just have a moral obligation to do so. Okay, so how many tweets is Israel going to delete because they get caught lying before Biden, Kamala, his administration, his spokespeople, the United Nations? How many tweets are they going to delete before y'all call them the fuck out? And y'all know what makes this particularly sinister? They posted that tweet because, as most of you all know, Rafah was bombed. Maybe you don't know. Rafah, yeah, the same Rafah that is right next to the Rafah border with Egypt, was bombed. The same Rafah that Israel designated as a safe base. The same Rafah that Israel told literally millions, not even hundreds of thousands, millions of Palestinians to run to. That same Rafah was bombed the night of the Super Bowl. So that tweet about posting about 20,000 trucks, all this aid that they were supposedly sending, was to cover for the fact that right now, as you all know, Israelis, are blocking the aid. So they tweeted this shit out at the same time. Israelis are blocking the aid trucks that are coming from Egypt from arriving into Gaza at the Rafah border. So they tweeted that shit out at the same time. And if the aid from Israel, quote unquote, that never existed, did arrive, it would arrive at Rafah, the same location that Palestinians are waiting for aid that is being denied to them, while Israel bombs them like shooting fish in a barrel. You know what? I'm getting really, 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 really frustrated with the cowardice that we are seeing from the majority of the international community. I know Yemen, specifically the Houthis, have done their thing. Salute to them. They're real ones. I know Lebanon has been doing its job. It hasn't got as much news coverage because they aren't blocking the entirety of the Red Sea, but they've been handling business too. Seeing sanctions and all that good stuff. But like at the end of the day, when are y'all going to do some shit? When are y'all going to do some shit? Israel doesn't take the entirety of the international community seriously. They think that all of you are fools. If I was a world leader, I would have to pop off with Israel just because of that fact. Like, hold up, y'all think that I'm a bitch? Okay. Hey, damn all that shit y'all was talking about, we going there right now. Because Mr. Netanyahu, Benjamin Milikowski got me fucked up today. You don't even got to support the Palestinian cause to the degree that a lot of us do in order to feel some type of way about the fact that Netanyahu thinks that all of y'all are a bunch of bitches. That they can commit a genocide in broad daylight with the funds and the weapons that you either are providing or did provide, knowing the political and PR backlash that is going to come your way. And he don't care. He's like, yeah, y'all ain't going to do shit. Y'all know that. We know that. You ain't going to do shit. I would have to go I promise you. That's why I could never be a politician, huh? That's why I could never be president. Because fuck all that international relations, fuck you, United Nations waiting to approve a guy. I'm like the Houthis. That's the why. That's the side of the military spectrum in leadership that I fall on. You're not gonna sit here and embarrass me, dare me, call out my religion, call out my ethnicity, call out my people, kill my people en masse, and then dare me to do something about it, and then I'm gonna just sit here on my hands like this when I got one of the largest militaries in the world. They would have to declare the whole area a goddamn a no-fly zone messing around with me. No, sir. The Houthis got the right idea. Because it couldn't be me. There are a lot of world leaders right now. Like one of the things that I've criticized about Putin. Now, Putin probably is the only one that has an active excuse because his military is currently engaged in a regional conflict of massive proportions, and he already had some of his military extended into helping Syria. Ironically, some of it is to help against Israel's attacks. But even with Putin, bro, just go send some pop shots off, because he does not like Netanyahu. He's already called out Israel for a genocide. He's already called the world for being complicit in it. But someone made the argument on my show the other day. Aaron Good said, for all we know, that might have been part of the plan, is to force Israel, probably order Biden to force Putin's hand so that whenever Israel did go for their final solution, Russia, who has been allied with Syria and stepped in military to help Syria, who is allied with Iran, who has been known to ally against the Western Empire in the Middle East, Russia would not get involved because they're going to be too extended. So, like, it's a pretty good argument. I ain't gonna lie, but even still, bro, fuck that. That's all I'm saying. Couldn't be me. Damn the diplomacy. 30,000 plus people dead. Benjamin Netanyahu getting on what was it, CNN, and saying we've killed only one civilian for one Hamas soldier. What are you talking about? That's pretty damn good ratio. Even the CNN dude, bro, what did you say to me, dog? You just gonna sit here and try to embarrass me in front of all my friends and God and all his cousins? For real? Even the guy from CNN wasn't having it. He wasn't having it. But you can't even get the Biden administration to have a press conference where they just come out and be like, nah, man, you can't do that, bro. Israel, y'all can't keep doing this. Y'all can't keep lying. Pretend like you're not a bitch is all I'm asking. Pretend like Netanyahu doesn't have you on a fucking leash is all I'm asking. That's it. I'm asking for more than that from other countries, but that's all I can expect from the U.S. So that's all I'm saying is just pretend like the U.S. is the most powerful country in the world. And it isn't actually just Netanyahu and his goddamn iPhone camera and his teleprompter. Because, like I've said before, it's really, really, really starting to look like we've been claiming the United States is the most powerful country in the world, but it really hasn't been that way. It hasn't been that way. The most powerful country in the world is the country with the people who can point a finger or put out a tweet and kill your career, or literally kill you, but kill your career, politically or otherwise. They can put out a tweet or put a finger to get the entire Hollywood establishment behind them and against you. Put out a tweet, put out a press conference to get the entire political establishment to send them money. It don't seem like the U.S. has ever been, like, at least not in modern history. Y'all weren't really the most powerful country in the world. I mean, hell, Israel was powerful before Israel existed. They said, hey, man, y'all got to remember, the majority of the world did not want Israel to exist in its current form, as in they wanted it to remain a city. They did not expect for it to be a country. They didn't, even when they were proposing this post-Holocaust. And Israel, the founders, pulled some strings and got exactly what they wanted anyway. So, like, I guess we can keep talking about, who's going to be president. Hell, we can even talk about who's the real puppet master behind the president. And none of that shit matters. Because at the end of the day, it's Israel governing our foreign policy. That's what it looked like to me. You got all these people, waving pretending to be these enforcers, the world's police. Like then you realize, damn, like y'all really can't do anything unless Israel tells y'all to, huh? The problem that Israel is now encountering, though, to some degree, is the U.S. doesn't have the clout to pull the stunts that it used to pull on behalf of Israel. And that's including regarding Iran. So we'll see how that shit goes. But like, y'all not even trying anymore, dog. Like, they put out, y'all remember when they put out an AI video saying, hey man, we know for a fact that Hamas has tunnels under this hospital. How do y'all know, man? We got this video for proof. It's a fucking AI video, y'all. It was an AI video. It was literally computer generated, and they didn't even use like 4K rendering. It makes me so mad. It's y'all got people in y'all lives that just lie to y'all, and you're like, bro, so you really not gonna put no effort into life? I don't mean enough to you. My opinion doesn't mean enough. My opinion means enough for you to lie to me, but it don't mean as much as it should if you gonna not even put no effort into the fucking lie. It's my problem, honestly. Don't even lie. Just don't even tell me. Just like, yo, I don't want to tell you because I'm gonna lie to you, but it ain't gonna be a good lie. So I'm just not gonna say anything. Just do that. I prefer that, honestly. But that's what it feels like. That's what it feels like. Oh shit. Let me go to the next topic before I lose my shit. Speaking of Israel and Palestine, y'all see this little interaction between Dave Smith and Laura Loomer? Y'all know, really, I've only heard about Dave Smith very, very, very recently. And the 2 times that I've seen this man in video, he has just been on point. He's been on point. And the reason, I know people have this bad habit of assuming that all debates between all individuals when it comes to topics such as Israel and Palestine or anything, the election, foreign policy, electoral integrity, like they think that it's just a waste of time. That's not true, y'all. I'm gonna tell you why. I've been in video debates, obviously live debates, but I've also been in person debates. And I can't tell you how many times people will walk up to me like, yo, man, I ain't want to say nothing. I'm in front of my friends. They got a different opinion than me, and I ain't really ready to argue that opinion yet, but you changed my mind on this issue. It's the people who aren't commenting all the time. It's the people who aren't loud as shit with their ignorance all over social media. Because y'all know, people think about, nobody's going to change their opinion. No, the people who are chronically on social media, who always have the same opinion, to the point where you can predict their goddamn opinion, you're not trying to change those people's minds. A lot of the time, people who are that loud about their opinion on social media, they're disingenuous and they're looking for friends. I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. They're looking for people to agree with them because they need the validation. Because their lives suck. And most of the time, I was literally just laughing with my friends about this yesterday in our group chat. Like, y'all know how many people there are in the world who get on social media and they act like they're so fucking passionate about something. And then you see them in person. This is somebody you probably see on a regular basis. And they ain't got none of the same energy that they had on social media. They was willing to nuke every friendship they had on Facebook over this damn random Facebook status. And you meet them in person, they just laugh it off. Oh, bro, I wasn't even that serious, honestly. I was bullshitting. Like, so what the hell did you do that? And then you go to the bathroom, you go to Facebook, and they going back at it again. It ain't even Bro, people are weird. But it's not them that you're trying to win over with a debate. If you're engaging with somebody like David Smith, if you're engaging with somebody like Niko House, right? If you're engaging with somebody like Fiorella or Pasta, we're not talking to the people who are loud on Twitter. I already know what your opinion is, but I know there are a lot of people who are watching now and tweet a damn thing. They'll never comment on YouTube. They got real jobs and real friends and real families, and they're genuinely trying to understand both sides of the issue, and they want the ability to argue those points when they engage with people in private and in person, having engagements that we will never know about until you get a DM like, yo, man, I had an argument with so-and-so, and I appreciate you having that debate because that's what equipped me to win the argument and ultimately bring somebody over to the side of truth. So let's check it out.
Right? That these are not people trapped in some open air prison. Okay, these are people who elected an Islamic terrorist organization to represent them. There are active polling measures taking place this week.
These are not people trapped in an open air prison. Question: can they leave right now? The open air prison? Can they leave? Can they leave Gaza? No. They can't even leave their homes. They can't even leave a hospital without getting shot. Israelis that were held captive can't even fucking leave Gaza without getting shot. but it's not an open air prison. Okay. Yeah. Okay, Laura, you got it.
Palestinian media by Palestinian. These are Muslim organizations that are conducting polls that show that over 58% of the Palestinian population would elect Ismail Haniyeh, the leader of Hamas, even after watching all the havoc that Hamas has brought, right? And I'm not saying that there aren't innocent people. There are innocent people. But at what point in time do the Palestinian people, right, if they want to claim to be innocent civilians, at what point do they have a responsibility to restore or kind of get rid of the status quo?
Yeah, it's for y'all know how pissed I was at hearing that, because how many times y'all hear these fake ass conservatives? I call them fake conservatives because they're not really, they're the ones that claim that they're about personal responsibility until it's about their own fucking personal responsibility. I almost lost my shit. They want everybody else to have personal responsibility, but when it's time for their ass to have some personal responsibility, man, but it's probably those leftists' fault that I can't. It's Joe Biden's fault. It's this person's fault. It's that person. No, it ain't Joe Biden's fault. You're a fucking idiot that keeps believing every single deep state, military industrial complex lie that gets fed to you as long as it feeds your narrative and feeds your pockets and feeds your clout. Like, how about you have some personal responsibility and stop being a dumb bitch? How about that? But I'm gonna let Dave Smith cook. Hold on.
Because don't people in all societies have a responsibility to challenge or overthrow governments if their governments are not serving the people?
That is such a great question. So let me just say this, okay? The United States of America in the last 20 years, okay, between the war in Afghanistan, the war in Iraq, which I think we can all probably agree were like just ridiculous catastrophes that we never should have fought. Let's also add in there the war, Obama's, which I'm sure you'll agree with me about, Obama overthrowing Gaddafi in Libya and leading to the migrant crisis into Europe was an absolute disaster. Let's also throw in there the attempt, right? So
and bringing in all the refugees to attack Americans.
Hold on, let me just finish my point. Let's also add in there the attempted regime change war in Syria, which we started, that led to 500,000 people dying. Let's also throw in there the war in Yemen, which we backed the Saudis fighting.
Don't forget the Arab Spring.
Something else like 500,000 somewhere in that ballpark also died. When you add up all of the numbers, you're talking about millions and millions of dead innocent people. What responsibility do you have? What responsibility do I have? What responsibility do you have? Are we fair targets now to be murdered because we haven't overthrown the status quo, as you just said? Why is it that we as Americans get to hold these standards against other nations, which we would never dream of imposing on ourselves? The question is always asked, what's Israel supposed to do? Don't they have a right to defend themselves? Do all of these countries that we've slaughtered innocent people in, do they have a right to defend themselves? Do they have a right to come over here and kill innocent civilians? I would say no. They don't have a right to come kill innocent civilians. You have political grievances with the government class, but it does not follow, as Osama bin Laden or Bill Clinton or Barack Obama or George W. Bush would argue, that it then follows that we can inflict this collective punishment against people. If we're going to be the better ones, if we're going to say you're the Islamists, but we're the civilized people, if we're going to represent the best tradition of Western...
Bro, I love when people use the language of the person that they're debating against them. It's like art in motion.
Civilization, then the point would be that we don't believe in any of that. We don't believe that you can target innocent men, women, and children.
Bruh, that boy, look, do you understand? Laura Loomer's logic is like, oh, you don't have collective responsibility. When do they have responsibility? The so-called innocence, like, no, there's not no so-called innocence. Like a child is a so-called innocent, bro. Come on, dog. Anyway, these are the people that tell you that no, we're so against abortion. What about those 10, 15,000 kids that got killed in there? No, that's different. They're Arab. Right? But by Laura's logic, once again, YouTube, for all my YouTube masters out there, I need y'all to understand, I'm just using Laura's logic. This isn't my logic. This is Laura Loomer's logic. So you believe that, especially over a given amount of time, a populace belonging to a certain nation has a certain responsibility that they must take for a leader that they elected if that leader is committing atrocities at home or abroad. And if there is a response from the affected victims to the actions of that leader, then that response that may sometimes result in the collective punishment of civilians is justified because the people, those civilians, stay with me here, those civilians have a collective responsibility, especially over a given amount of time, for the actions of that leader that they elected because they didn't choose to overthrow them or whatever. So, ladies and gentlemen, what Laura Loomer is saying is that October 7th was justified? Is that what she's saying? Is that what Laura Loomer is saying? YouTube, hear me out. I'm not saying it. YouTube, I'm not saying it. Twitter, I'm not saying it was justified. But Laura Loomer said that if you were to perhaps, I don't know, build your fucking country in the middle of somebody else's land, expand into illegal settlements that are not only deemed illegal by moral standards, but literally deemed illegal by the United Nations. And they all say y'all don't really have a right to defend yourselves because you're an occupying country. Okay. You have settlements, people in those settlements killing the Arabs that used to live in that land or that currently live on that land. You have your bulldozers destroying their homes, killing those kids. You destroy the only airport in Gaza that would allow them to fly in and out. You've turned off their water supply over and over and over again. You shot protesters with a fucking sniper. This is years ago. Shooting protesters with a sniper. Protesters with a sniper. So what you're telling me is that over the 1948, almost 70 years, because the people of Israel, hell, not only of Israel, but I guess from all over the world, considering fucking barely any of them are indigenous to the region, especially Bibi, but the people of Israel have a collective responsibility for the actions taken by their prime minister and president. And therefore, in the case of October 7th, it might be especially true, according to Laura Loomer. Because y'all weren't even in fucking Tel Aviv or some shit. Y'all were in a settlement in Gaza. An illegal settlement in Gaza. I repeat, an illegal settlement in Gaza. So, based off of Laura Loomer's logic, what they experienced on October 7th was collective responsibility. Right? Now, if that is the argument that they're willing to accept for themselves, then I'm not okay with the 30,000, 36,000 people that have died, but I guess it would make their logic a little bit more consistent. But the problem with that logic is the collective responsibility, according to Laura Loomer, would be justified. The collective responsibility that was taking place on October 7th, that would be justified. And therefore, the response to the collective responsibility is actually unjustified now, isn't it? Because if you're being responsible, that means you're being accountable. And if you're being accountable, that means you must accept the consequences of your actions. That is the definition of being responsible for your president's action. I'm not saying it, YouTube. I didn't say it. Laura Loomer alluded to this logic. Chat, am I wrong? Am I being too harsh by using? Y'all know I only took the LSAT twice. Okay, I got like a 160 something. I was okay. Studied a lot though. I just got a little tired, but I studied a lot. But my logic could have a hole in it. But I don't think so. Shit, we don't even got to talk about the United States, right? I feel like that should be the most obvious. Yo, I thank God every day, every single day that Putin and Xi Jinping and all of these other leaders, especially the ones of superpowers, like, Iran, for example. But you know how whenever the deep state decided they wanted to collectively assassinate Soleimani, bro, you know how thankful I am and was that Iran is being led by their leaders and not by one of ours. Because, oh my God. Could you imagine if a U.S. general got assassinated? Not only just in general, but assassinated in someone else's nation on the way to peace talks in a complete and utter violation of international law. Could you imagine? Oh my God. Bro, World War III would have got, that shit would have set off right then and there, bro. But Iran did not hold the entirety of the United States responsible collectively for the decisions that a few dumbasses with suits made. They knew we weren't a part of that. We had nothing to do with it. But according to Laura Loomer's logic, if they would have done, because remember, they didn't attack us, they didn't hit US soil, but they also made it very, very clear if Trump would have retaliated to Iran's response to assassinating Soleimani, then shit would have popped off. Right? So we're fortunate that Iran doesn't have the thought process and the logic of Laura Loomer. Because good God, bro. And what's crazy is how she said that dumbass shit with so much confidence. It's the confidence and the dumbacity for me. They say this shit and it's like, this is what happens when you get your talking points off of Twitter, y'all. I've had debates like that too. Where people just like, it's like you don't even go research the person that you're debating to know that, like, to not waste their time and yours, to not embarrass yourself, to make sure you're not going to get up there and just go to Twitter. I'm gonna pull some bookmarks I got off of Twitter because this shit sounded really cool when no one could respond to it in real time. It was catchy for likes from people that already follow them and agree with what they say. It isn't to use in a real fucking debate. Holy shit. People like Laura Loomer tend to forget. It's like Destiny. Destiny does that shit too. That's why when Destiny went toe-to-toe with Glenn Greenwald, Destiny was just, he was perturbed. He was flabbergasted. He was taken aback. He couldn't believe it. He was like, oh my God, I can't believe that Glenn Greenwald has actually spent a significant amount of time researching this topic before he decided to talk about it in front of hundreds of thousands of people with me. Yeah, because that's what journalists do. Or fuck, if I'm going to agree to debate somebody, I mean, that's just what anybody would do. But it's crazy to me that there is literally a sect of influencers, if you will, political influencers that have a microphone. That's a whole different conversation. I cannot believe Laura Loomer is popular enough to have a fucking microphone to talk about any issue. That right there, that conversation pretty much made me lose all faith in humanity. But whatever. But there are people, there's like at least Ben Shapiro will like think out his arguments. He's an idiot, but he does a better job thinking out his arguments than like Laura Loomer. But it's like the Laura Loomers of the world. There's even Destiny. Like Destiny got caught out by Glenn Greenwald and he got so upset because Glenn asked him a very simple question. Like he just asked him to acknowledge a very simple fact. I wish I could remember what the fact was, but it was a material fact. It was, hey, did Trump say this or not? And it was like, we have the video evidence to show that he did say this. Oh, like he said, can we acknowledge that Trump did say, leave in peace and don't cause a ruckus and don't cause a riot? Can we at least acknowledge that for January 6th? That's all Glenn said. Can we at least, because if you can't agree on material facts of the debate, there's no way that you're going to be able to have a meaningful conversation. There's just no way. Destiny wouldn't even admit that shit. He just was, once again, taken aback. Whoa, you want me to acknowledge material facts that can hurt my argument? I'm not going to do that shit. Hell no. Like, then why did you come here? To yell at the screen and for my audience to jerk me and talk about how smart I am? Yeah, See, that's why Destiny don't got a girl no more. But we ain't gonna talk about that. We ain't gonna talk about the fact he lost his girl. He was in a polyamorous relationship. It was definitely poly and it was amorous, but really she was polyamorous. He was just poly. letting her do whatever the fuck she wanted to do. Oh, sorry, that wasn't right. That wasn't right, y'all. Oh, that's personal, man. Don't let me get that shit. Anyway, Lord, these people are so frustrating, bro. But I'm happy. Like Dave Smith really put foots in her, politically speaking, rhetorically speaking. And I'm glad, like, once again, because it isn't just about the loud people on Twitter who are going to respond and disagree with Dave no matter what he says, or disagree with Laura no matter what she says, or agree with either of them no matter what they say. It's for the people who aren't loud, who are processing information. Because there might have been somebody, because of just the nature of social media, that tacitly agreed with Laura because like they have a bias towards Zionism or Zionists. They have a bias towards the Western narrative. But you know how one thing that a lot of people that may or may not agree with you wait for, they want to see what happens when you are challenged on that. Right? I can say a lot of people in this comment section are probably like that. When you, oh man, like I tend to agree with them, but let me respond to this shit because I really haven't been challenged in my personal life, but they really believe in this side of the issue, so let's see how they respond. Whatever issue you might have agreed with Laura Loomer on, she might have been right on some shit, but after seeing that shit, I don't agree with her anymore. Lord Jesus. Okay. Hold up. What am I? That's a wrong. That's cool. I found it. But so anyway, did y'all hear about this recent development in the Trump story? Matt Taibbi, along with two other gentlemen, let me find their names for you. Because y'all know I'm horrible with names. And I don't want to get their names wrong. Okay. It was Matt Taibbi, Michael Schellenberger, and Alex Gutentag. Why do they always have to have the wildest names, y'all? God damn. Yeah, Matt Taibbi, Michael Schellenberger, and Alex Gutentag. They dropped some heat. They dropped some heat. Let me go ahead and share this with y'all. CIA had foreign allies spy on Trump team, triggering Russian collusion hoax, sources say. So you all remember whenever they invaded Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate, the FBI raid, they said it was because he had mishandled classified documents. Yeah, apparently that was actually not what it was. And we all kind of knew at the time, like, it seemed like a political attack. But we didn't really have any proof other than the fact that Biden is constantly attacking Trump as a political opponent and using his power to try and avoid this ass whipping he might take in a couple of months. But outside of that, we didn't have any specifics. Well, Matt Taibbi doing what he does, working with these two gentlemen, might have just gave us some specifics. Let's check this article out. It's a big deal, y'all. Last year, John Durham, a special prosecutor for the Department of Justice, concluded that the Federal Bureau of Investigation should never have opened its investigation of alleged collusion by then presidential candidate Donald Trump and Russia in late July of 2016. Now, multiple credible sources tell Public and Racket that the United States intelligence community, including the Central Intelligence Agency, CIA, illegally mobilized foreign intelligence agencies to target Trump advisors long before the summer of 2016. Bruh. So that was off rip. And by the way, that's crazy for a number of reasons. We're going to talk about that. Because what that tells me is there was something else going on behind the scenes, and Trump was almost like a stepping stone to achieve a greater goal. But let's talk about it. The new information fills many gaps in our understanding of Russia, the Russia collusion hoax, and is supported by testimony already in the public record. Until now, the official story has been the FBI's investigation began after Australian intelligence officials told U.S. officials that a Trump aide had boasted to an Australian diplomat that Russia had damning material about the Democratic presidential candidate Hillary Clinton, which, by the way, still wouldn't really be all that like not their fault. They got damning material on the bitch that wants to blow them off the face of the planet. I would probably release the material too. I'm just saying, if that was the case, I mean, they would just be following the Israel model, wouldn't they? We ain't gonna talk about that though. That's a different segment. It's in truth, the USIC asked the Five Eyes Intelligence Alliance to surveil Trump's associates and share the intelligence they acquire with U.S. agencies, say sources close to the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence Investigation. The Five Eyes nations are the U.S., UK, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand. After Public and Racket had been told that President Barack Obama's CIA Director John Brennan had identified 26 Trump associates for the Five Eyes to target, a source confirmed that the IC had identified them as people to bump or make contact with or manipulate. They were targets of our own IC, intelligence community, and law enforcement, targets to collect information and misinformation. Unknown details about the FBI's investigation of the Trump campaign and raw intelligence related to the IC surveillance of the Trump campaign are in a 10-inch binder that Trump ordered to be declassified at the very end of his term, rightfully so. Sources told Public and Racket, if the top secret documents exist proving these charges, they are potentially proof that multiple U.S. intelligence officials broke laws against spying and election interference. Can we just say really quick, guys? Of course, that multiple U.S. intelligence officials broke laws against spying. Isn't that kind of the job when you join the intelligence community? Once you become a U.S. intelligence official, you just kind of assume that they're going to be breaking laws against spying. Like, it just comes with the job. Pretty sure they ask you. But there's a couple of takeaways from this. One, bro, like, this Russiagate shit is never going to die. We are never going to be rid of it. We are never going to be rid of this shit. And and what's crazy is it's not like, so if this information was just like, oh, cool, like we have been proven right once again, and it's relevant to 2016, 2017, 2018, cool, but now it doesn't really have any bearing on what we're dealing with right now. That's not even the case. No, it's relevant. We just didn't Trump. There was a court ruling on the fact that Trump isn't immune because of the court document situation or the mishandling of classified document situation that directly came from this Mar-a-Lago raid. So it's not even like it's irrelevant. It was already, the Mar-a-Lago raid was already problematic because it looked to me and to a lot of the world as a political attack. Somebody said that YouTube is shadow banning the comments live. That's crazy because I do not have a setting to I have all the comments. You should be able to do it, say whatever you want to. I'll take it off later. But that's crazy, but it's also not surprising. Anyway, so what we already felt like it was a political attack. It was obvious because, I mean, has it not been obvious from the beginning that Joe Biden is using his fucking power like a banana republic in order to attack his political opponent? Because he knows that he really doesn't present an alternative option. He's not really a better option. Like, it don't mean you love Trump. We just know that Biden isn't a better option. It's fucking obvious. I like my options to run a country or to pretend like you're running a country to be able to eat regular cereal in the morning because his staff isn't afraid that he will choke on Fruit Loops because they're too big. Like, I like that kind of option. So just objectively speaking, Biden isn't a better option. I think that everybody agrees. Hell, even the polls agreeing at this point. But that was already a problem. But now we're finding out that not only was the United States intelligence involved, but not only was Australia's intelligence involved, but the Five Eyes were involved. Now, I need you all to grasp the greater context of this. If you are unfamiliar with the Five Eyes are the collective intelligence communities of the United States, Canada, Great Britain, Australia, and New Zealand. Okay, that's out the way. The Five Eyes were created in secret right after World War II. Go ahead, y'all. Go ahead and take a guess why the Five Eyes were created. Y'all go ahead and take a guess. Specifically to take down Russia. That's right. Mm-hmm. So we're finding out that the Five Eyes that were created to take down Russia have been implicated in colluding in a plot to take down and overthrow the President of the United States of America in an attempt to link Russia to it while escalating tensions with Russia that we are all fully aware have reached a boiling point that we've arrived to with this war between Russia and Ukraine, that they ultimately believed that Russia would be crushed economically and militarily by engaging with Ukraine in a full-scale war. They thought that was going to happen. Didn't work out like that, but we're finding out that this situation with Trump, especially because they're saying that they had started colluding on this before the summer of 2016. Do y'all understand that we elected Trump? Well, not we, but the country elected Trump November of 2016. But they started colluding to push up on Trump's associates before the summer of 2016, during the primary season. Like there was a greater goal involved, specifically regarding Russia. A goal that was crafted by the agencies whose creation was specifically to undermine Russia. Yeah. So whenever people like myself who didn't vote for Trump constantly are telling y'all Russiagate is bigger than Trump, it's not about Trump, take his fucking name out of it. I know Trump supporters, like, they're pissed about that specific aspect of it, and that's their candidate, whatever, that's cool. But what I'm telling everybody else is take Trump's name out of it. It's something else going on, y'all. And they're showing us all of the ways that they can screw us over or screw our candidate over. And it just so happens to be that Trump is the name that they're screwing over at the moment. But they're showing you that they can literally commit treason. They can work with other countries to do so, work with other intelligence communities to do so, conduct illegal spying to do so, use Gestapo tactics that they generally reserve for accusing the KGB of using to do so. And if you say something about it, then you're a right-wing conspiracy theorist. You're anti-democracy. Or in extreme cases, you're a domestic terrorist. You're a Putin puppet. You're an Assadist. You're a mad. They use Trump in this particular case, and they highlight Trump because using Trump gives them the attacks they need to silence your criticisms of the fact that they're undermining your democracy. You don't have to like Trump to know Hillary Clinton was trash. She was never going to win. The bitch didn't even campaign in swing states. Like, she literally told Bernie voters en masse, yeah, I know I cheated y'all. I should be trying to win y'all hearts and souls back, but we don't need y'all votes. Turns out she did. Turns out she did. Surprise, surprise. You actually need people's votes to win an election. I think that was new information for her. Do y'all know the Five Eyes were responsible for creating the alliance that funded the Mujahideen against Russia and Afghanistan? Do y'all know that the Five Eyes were partially responsible for colluding together to overthrow Mossad and the democratically elected government of Iran? Actually, they went back multiple times. It wasn't just Mossad. Do y'all know that the Five Eyes, this is the kicker, y'all. Y'all know the Five Eyes were responsible for the intel, the super reliable intel that Saddam Hussein had weapons of mass destruction that led us to go to war with Iraq. And they were also the ones who provided the intel that he was working directly with Osama bin Laden. And now we had to go to Iraq, or else terrorists or something like that. Those Five Eyes. The same people, y'all. Some of you all might be familiar with this because they've been involved in cases like Susie Dawson, Kim.com, Taylor Hudak talks about the Five Eyes a lot. So if you're familiar with any of those people, Julian Assange even. If you're familiar with any of those people, then you're familiar with the Five Eyes specifically. But what I'm telling you all is this was an alliance that was secret until 2010. Do y'all know that? But they were responsible for taking, so like, for example, if I was a British guy that was causing problems for Great Britain, they would use one of the intelligence communities from the Five Eyes to bring me to another location that didn't have such stringent laws on things like, torturing a motherfucker. That's actually how 2 or 3 British nationals got caught up in Guantanamo Bay illegally. They were tortured. If you got to do some shit like overthrow your country's president, you can't really use you per se. Use your CIA, your intelligence community per se. You get Australia to provide the intel. So I didn't commit treason. All I did was take the intel from another intelligence community that I have no reason to doubt or question, and I handed it to the people I needed to handle it to. I'm just doing my job. That's how it works, man. But still to this day, I firmly believe, as a person who worked in the military intelligence unit in the military, there is no such thing as military intelligence. The only intelligence the U.S. gets is the kind that it creates because they created the fucking problem. Like, they know where terrorist leaders live or act or act. They know where they lived or the acts that they're committing or the family that they belong to because, yeah, we hired you. Yeah, of course we know everything about you. We knew that before you got hired. And when we needed to tie up loose ends, we push the button and make it seem like, yeah, look at the great work our intelligence community did. Bro, you know where they were at already. You know the intelligence because you created the intelligence. You're not actually good at this. Because I'll tell you this. If you knew, if U.S. intelligence was as good as they claim they are in all aspects, because if Israeli intelligence was as good as they are, when it comes to giving us what we would need to succeed, how do you think this situation with Russia turned out the way it did? And I'm not just talking about militarily. I'm talking about everything about it. Y'all thought that Saudi Arabia was going to take your side when this whole shit popped off. Saudi Arabia was like, no, we good. We're good. But hey, bro, y'all let us know how it turns out, though. Y'all let us know how it turned out. We'll catch up with you on the flip side. If U.S. intelligence is that good, so we knew we had intelligence on Iraq because we provided a lot of the weapons that we actually that were used against us in Iraq were given to Saddam by us in order to wage war with Iran. Right? Y'all remember that, including the Iranian-tipped weapons. Okay, we knew we didn't win, but we knew how to take out Saddam because we didn't put him in power, but we empowered him. We had people on the inside, if you will. Afghanistan, we knew where to go and how to operate and all that shit with Al Qaeda because we put them there. Taliban, we put them there. We invented IEDs, improvised explosive devices that are used to bomb Humvees on the side of the road. Like, bro, that was us. We taught them how to do that. It's improvised explosive devices using stuff that we gave them. But you notice that all that shit we be talking about Iran, how we just like to beat our chest. Man, we're gonna take out Iran. Yeah, man, we should go to war right now. Okay, go ahead, do it. Why don't you do it? Go ahead, do it. Do it. Do it. You talking shit? Go do it, y'all. When you wanted to go to war with Yemen, you sent some soldiers and you went over there to Saudi Arabia, gave them some money and some weapons, and you went and did it. When you wanted to go to war with Iraq, you just went and did it. When you wanted to go invade Afghanistan, you just went and did it. Syria, you just went and did it. So why don't you do the same with Iran? Go ahead. Go ahead. Because even since, why do you think we gave the weapons to Iraq to go to war with Iran? Boy, we can't beat Iran. We ain't got a zero lick of reliable intelligence on shit to do with Iran. When I say reliable intelligence, we might know what's going on in Tehran, like as a city, Like we might have a decent map of that shit. We might know what's going on somewhat politically, but y'all do know Iran's bigger than the fucking capital. Iran is one of those situations like Texas or Africa, I guess, but just Texas for Americans. You know how, like, proportionally speaking, yeah, Texas looks the biggest on the map of the US, but it's actually bigger than that. It's hard to put, like, it would look weird as shit if you drew it to scale. It's not even drawn to scale. How Africa is not drawn to scale. How Brazil even isn't drawn to scale. Bro, you know how long it takes you to fucking fly from Rio, which isn't even all the way in South Brazil, to like Manaus, like in the Amazon? Bro, it's a 6 or 7 hour flight. I'm not even all the way south. It takes what, 6 hours to fly from North Carolina to California? Like, that's from like North Carolina all the way to LA. 6 hours to fly from New York to LA, if I'm not mistaken. And that's if, like, you know, you might get 5.5. But like, nah, to fly from here to like to Manaus is like 6-7 hours. And we're not even south. We're not even all the way south. I'm like halfway. Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, Rio's halfway down the coast of Brazil. So yeah, it's like that situation with Iran. You look at Iran on the map, and then you might want to double or triple that shit. And then you add on to the fact that we don't have any real military experience on their terrain. But if our intelligence is as good as we claim it is, why don't we just go invade Iran? Like we invaded Iraq, like we invaded Afghanistan. We got the Five Eyes, guys, the Five Eyes. The only thing the Five Eyes were good for doing is using information that they should already have because of people they've already manipulated, and to give them the information in situations that they already had control over. And sending people to do their dirty work whenever they don't really have intelligence, and then finding out on the flip side, yeah, shit, man, we fucked up. Just like you thought that Russia was fucked when it came to, we thought that Russia was fucked economically, right? They said, oh, we're going to sanction everybody. We're going to sanction RT. We're going to sanction their banks. We're going to sanction their gas. We're going to die. Yeah, how'd that work out? Because somebody, somewhere, got the wrong information. They said, hey, man, so what we're going to do is we're going to send Ukraine to fight these people, right? Because we keep saying we're going to fight Russia, and we keep saying we're going to fight Iran, but like, we don't really know shit. We don't know enough to know how that's going to go. We don't really know Russia's capable. They're nuclear powers. Damn that. Like, okay, cool. They can destroy the world with the push of a button like everybody else. That's not the type of intelligence you want, though. You want to know, like, let's just say if we go toe to toe, what's going to happen? Not just how many soldiers they got, what kind of weapons they have, but like, what other soldiers would jump in? Like, what countries would jump in? They find out the hard way, shit, we thought that any conflict or military engagement with Russia would be more predictable than it is. And it's wrong. They were wrong. These Five Eyes that were responsible for intelligence gathering on Russia, specifically, they had zero idea how this Ukraine situation was going to end up, y'all. And that's why I say military intelligence, at least in the US, but I guess for all the Five Eyes, there is an oxymoron. There's no such thing as military intelligence. It's military shit I already knew and are using to my advantage. Not shit I learned because I actually went and did some scouting and did some report, sent some people in and gathered some information. Like, nah, bro. No, that shit, like, y'all keep believing the movies if you want to. But the US hasn't really won a war in how long? The only thing that we have intelligence on is the shit that we created. That's it. Next topic. Oh, this is going to be fun. So, man, people were really upset at this Black national anthem issue. Like, way more than I thought it was going to be. To be honest with you, I had no idea people care that much about the Black national. But, what it really comes down to, for me, when it comes to stuff like this, is that people don't really be upset about shit like this until someone else tells them to be upset about it. Right? That's just how I feel about it. And I'm saying this because when the Black National Anthem became an issue because it was performed, it's called Lift Every Voice. And I learned that some people around the country actually consider this the Black National Anthem, which logically doesn't make any sense, but I'll explain that in a second. Lift Every Voice was played at the Super Bowl in addition to the national anthem. One of the reasons I felt like there shouldn't be any issue taken with that is because it's not a national anthem. It affectionately at the time, because, you know, rhetorically it made sense at the time, it was called the Negro Anthem. It wasn't actually called the national anthem. And the reason why is, I want to make sure I get this name right. I know, once again, I'm bad with names. James Weldon Johnson is Caribbean. Family from the Bahamas. Actually, one half is from Haiti and the other half is from the Bahamas. So it was never meant to be a song exclusively for Black Americans. What it was meant to do, I mean, I feel like I shouldn't have to actually say this part out loud, but motherfuckers are slow. So we're going to say it out loud. It's supposed to lift every voice and highlight the similarities between the struggles of Black Americans, Caribbean Americans, Africans, Afro-Latinos. I mean, it's not called Lift Every Voice of the American Descendants of Slave Anthem. Nor is it called Lift Every Voice Except for White People Anthem, to be quite frank. Nor is it called Lift Every Voice, Negro Replace the National Anthem. It's not called none of that shit. Sparky, thank you for the super chat. Appreciate you. Normies don't think of it, but like Brazil and only a handful of other big countries, Iran is economically self-sufficient with defendable terrain. Absolutely, 100%. That's why we want. I'm telling you, that's why we want to invade. Go Yemen, fight the power. Yup, facts. I didn't think that this shit was a big deal. I don't know how to say it. I was genuinely surprised when I heard that there was outrage about this. It's just in the same way that I was surprised when I first heard that there was outrage about Kaepernick kneeling or sitting down, actually, at the time. And the reason why, once again, and we got to go to the context of the Kaepernick situation, because a lot of people seem to forget. Everybody acts as if Kaepernick was like gun-ho, ready to take to the podium and go give his rendition of why he felt like it was important to sit down during the national anthem. During the national anthem. What actually happened was he was just sitting. He was just sitting, y'all. Just sitting down, minding his own fucking business. And he never thought it would be that big of a deal. Do you want to know why? Because Marshawn Lynch, in the history of his career, has never stood up for the national anthem. Did y'all know that? Never once. Not a single fucking time. Not a single time did Marshawn Lynch, who was just at that point, you gotta remember, this is the heyday of Marshawn Lynch's career at that point. He was just as popular, maybe at that point, more popular, and was starting at the time than Kaepernick was. Kaepernick did not even really, he wasn't even prepared to articulate why. He was just like, yo, man, I feel some type of way about this shit. I don't really like it. Like, he's not the only one. I wish I could remember the other names, but he's not the only one. Not to mention the players coming out to speak, to stand for the national anthem was a new thing. It was an initiative by the Department of Defense. They gave the NFL a bunch of money to have this shit happen. They don't really talk about that part, but yes, it was 100% full-blown propaganda. Even still, that wasn't really the reason why Cap was like, yo, I'm chilling, yo, what the fuck? Like, why y'all on my dick? Basically, is what happened. And the media took that and the NFL took that and ran with it. Because Cap was an easy target because the 49ers sucked. And for those of you who are curious, Cap was not the reason the 49ers sucked. In case you missed that whole 2-3 year period, They went and brought in a head. They got rid of Harbaugh, which is like the fuck. Yeah, national championship Harbaugh, people. That guy just had went to a conference championship in the Super Bowl. Harbaugh was a pass away from a Super Bowl. Harbaugh, that same Harbaugh. They fired him, let a bunch of players go that they shouldn't have let go, got rid of their whole fucking defense, left Kaepernick with nobody, and brought in a coach whose experience was limited to being a defensive coordinator for the EuroLeague. That's why the fucking San Francisco 49ers sucked. And the 49ers use it as an opportunity. They're like, shit, man, if Kaepernick can distract from these horrible decisions we're making as an organization, yeah, let's throw him to the fucking piranhas. They basically use that man as a sacrificial lamb to avoid the horrible organization. Because what ultimately ends up happening is that like everybody's like, well, shit. Well, wait. Now that I think about it, that song is fucking stupid, and I don't want to stand to it. Why do I need to stand to it? It ain't my problem. I don't want to stand to it. I don't put my right hand over my heart when I listen to the national anthem. But I did it when I was in uniform because I was required to. Like it's just a policy when I was in the military. But outside of that, I've never done it. I've just never done it. I'm like, this ain't really my song, homie. I usually skip this track whenever it comes up on my shuffle on my iPod. So I remember how like blown away I was. I'm like, yo, y'all really this upset about this motherfucker sitting down? Then he talked with a soldier who also was a football player. I wish I could remember the dude's name, but he was special forces, but also an NFL player. And he was like, hey man, can you just kneel like out of respect? He's like, okay, cool, I'll do that. Then the kneeling became more problematic than the fucking sitting. This is really what happened. I don't know. I know people kind of forget that shit played out, but that's what happened, right? So fast forward, people tripping about this goddamn Black national anthem. And I'm just like, and I felt the same way about this shit as I do now. I'm like, bro, y'all are really only tripping because white people are telling y'all to trip. Like some white dude with a lot of influence made a big deal about this, and now everyone feels like they have to have an opinion about this song that has existed forever, that everybody has various feelings about, but never has been a big deal. This is basically how it's always been. There was advance notice that this song was going to be played for the Super Bowl for like weeks, if not months, but definitely weeks. And I actually made a tweet saying very specifically, let me put up for y'all. Hold up, y'all see it? Let me reshare it because for some reason it. Oh, I think y'all could see it. Give me a second. There we go. I couldn't see it. Y'all could, but I'm gonna put it back up. No stress. So yeah, I made a tweet saying, can I be honest with y'all? We didn't know this was considered the Black national anthem until white people told us yesterday. Basically when everybody felt like it was necessary to get upset about this national anthem. People thought it was disrespectful. And I'm like, why are you getting disrespectful? I didn't know this was a national anthem. I didn't know. I had zero idea about this. And just to make sure I wasn't crazy, I'm like, y'all, I talked to my friends that I grew up with. I'm like, y'all, it's the Black national anthem. We've sung it. Like, I remember elementary school, we sung it. We like learned it a week during music class in elementary school. And I lived in the South, right? I grew up around my teachers up until my maybe sophomore, junior year were predominantly Black and predominantly Black, Southern Black women that went to church. And I feel like I shouldn't have to explain that to you if you're from the South. Like, my teachers were the type of Black where they're like, you need to cut out with all that foolishness and whatnot. Like that kind of Black. Yeah. Carrying on. Just saying these abstract things, like descriptions of actions without actually specifying what the action is. That kind of Black, yeah. So when I said this, apparently there's a whole group around the world, or at least around the country, that believes that this is the Black national anthem. They say that this is actually Black Americans, this is including Tariq Nasheed, by the way, take that for what it's worth, that Black Americans who have been here for generations and generations all know that this is the Black national anthem for Black Americans. I was so confused. I'm like, hold up, what y'all? When the fuck did y'all have this conversation? When was this agreement had? Because I went to 3 different elementary schools in North Carolina. I went to middle school there. By the time I was in 6th grade, we didn't even sing the national anthem at all anymore, actually. And we damn sure didn't sing in high school. I went to football games. I played soccer. We didn't sing the national. We didn't even sing the. Oh no, we did. We did sing the national anthem for soccer. That was it. But the Lift Every Voice was never included in that. It wasn't included in our football games either. So I'm like, hold on, what are y'all talking about? What the fuck? Like, Sabby said that she heard it. They used to sing in elementary school in Germany, and I'm like, oh, so maybe it's a generational divide, right? Like maybe it's my group that didn't learn it. Because once again, all my friends are like, nigga, we did not. One of my friends literally said they're living in an alternative reality. What the fuck are they talking about? Because none of the people that we grew up with sung this song every single day right after the national anthem was sung. I've never heard that shit before. They were like, yo, what, they live in an alternative reality. So somebody said it's because my great grandmother is Caribbean. And so that's why I didn't know. I'm like, hold on, but y'all saying y'all all learn about this from school. Like y'all sing this every day in school. So what do you mean? I'm confused. I went to school, motherfucker. Like I went to school. I played sports. I have black friends. I grew up in the hood. What the fuck? None of us, we all went to the same schools. I went to 3 different elementary schools and never heard this shit. We learned it as a part of Black History Month, but it was also never referred to as the Black National Anthem because the writers of the song did not call it the Black National Anthem. So I'm confused as to how y'all just decided that not only is it the Black National Anthem, but now you're saying that you know this because you understand Black American history as foundational Black Americans. Bro, what the fuck is y'all talking about? That is confusing. I don't know. Y'all just gonna say, what's crazy, if you look at the lyrics of the song, the lyrics of the song are very clear that they're talking about the very unique struggle of Afro Blacks in the Caribbean, in Latin America, and obviously the US. Like, it's the collective struggle, the similarities that we all have. Talking about the very unique experience. And they're like, nah, man, it's the Black National Anthem. And I'm like, so hold up, y'all telling me that I don't know about this song because of like my distant relative. Well, not distant, but distant enough. Like, we're not connected to the culture at all. Hold up, it's like, but the motherfucker who wrote the song is from the same Caribbean. Motherfucker, what are you talking about? He's from the Caribbean too. He's from the Bahamas and he's West Indian. Yeah, Haitian. He's Haitian. So like, hold on. So you telling me this man's like, I'm gonna go out of my way to write a song specifically for Black Americans? And people are arguing, yeah, that's exactly what that means. That means you should have known that it was for Black Americans. I'm like, no, y'all not hearing me. You're not following my logic. We didn't learn in school that this was called the Black National Anthem because the writer of the fucking song didn't name it the Black National. Because now I'm getting pissed off at Black people because the white people are already embarrassing us by making this an issue that should have never been, like they tend to do. Okay. And now y'all are buying into the shit just to have something to argue with these motherfuckers about, as if you need white people to validate your fucking blackness. But hey, that's some church going Joe Biden voter ass shit. So I'm not even all that surprised by that. But anyway, I'm like, y'all gonna tell me that the song that isn't named the Black National Anthem by the writer of the song, who is Caribbean, and like not, well, I think he was born in America, but was a first generation American basically. But it's like, hold on, what the fuck? Are y'all really upset? Because I rightfully, in my opinion, point the fuck out that this is a non-issue. I don't know why y'all let white people get y'all so hyped up about this fucking non-issue, as tends to happen with our community, unfortunately. And y'all want to make it a bigger issue because you want to feel justified in your anger for white people being unjustifiably angry. Instead of doing what I do in situations like this, which is fucking laugh. Like, y'all getting mad over. Nobody called it the Black National Anthem. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. We said it's the Black National Anthem. No. Who the fuck is we? We, and I got these people right in my comment section. I used to sing it every day in elementary school and through high school. I sung it every day. And then I'm like, bro, y'all are fucking lying. Why do people get on this goddamn website and just lie? They just get on this website and just say whatever the fuck they can to try. And then I realized, so sometimes, y'all, I got this really bad habit. My friends reminded me of this before. They're like, yo, you kind of forget sometimes, like when you're on Twitter and Instagram, like people want you to respond to them because of your following. So they feel like if they can get you to respond, they're just going to say whatever the fuck they have to and make certain non-issues an issue just to get your attention. And I was like, but this is dumb as shit. And you can do this with a regular non-issue. Like, this is the dumbest non-issue. Like, y'all really going to sit here and try to convince me that this is the Black National Anthem and that it's just some secret amongst Black families who, you know, has 6 generations and family reunions every year and fucking were like, can trace their fucking, they can trace their lineage to Harriet Tubman. Like, that's just like a secret amongst y'all. The fuck are you talking about? But what was funny as shit was how serious some of these people. I'll show y'all the tweets. Oh, we gonna move on. I don't want to do much talk about this shit, but it's fucking hilarious. And I need y'all to laugh with me because people are fucking stupid. Oh man, hold on. Let's put this. Nah, hey Victor, you know what's funny about the PSYOP suggestion is that is the fact that people were then talking about. They had a bunch of resist emojis popping up, Democratic Party emojis. It was a dude from South Florida actually responded to me, and he works for the Miami. He works in one of the local governments for Miami in a position there. And I'm like, bro, hold up, bro. Don't you work for one of the most corrupt governments in the world? And then you fucking talking about voting for Biden? And you in my mentions talking about selling out Black people? Come on, man. Come on. J-Mo said they didn't do that at your school, so it didn't happen anywhere else. No, that's not what I said. What I said was, if this was the Black fucking national anthem, I lived in the South, with primarily, for the most part, Black teachers growing up. One of my Black friends in the city of Fayetteville, which had multiple, like literally FSU, for those of you who don't know, Fayetteville State University, is one of the most prominent, well-known HBCUs in the country. And still, I've never heard anybody that's like, yeah, we sing this shit every day and we learn for a fact this is the Black national anthem. I'm not saying that you don't consider the Black national. There are people who could probably consider the Black national anthem. That's cool. And like, the fucking writer of the song didn't consider it the Black national anthem. So like, I don't care. I don't know what you want me to tell you. This shit was hilarious. So I'll show y'all some of these tweets. So Sabby says she sung it in elementary school in Germany, of all places, which actually that kind of makes sense. This guy, Dr. Q Jones, who follows me apparently. Oh, look, Organized Arts, formerly Stacey Abrams, Joe Biden, and Now America Votes. So, you know, I take his opinion about Black culture super serious. Anyway, he says, it's literally the Negro national anthem. That's not what it says. Written by James Weldon Johnson, the person who is at nationality is actually Bohemian, but taught and sang at every Black church, HBCU, and etc. What part of South you grew up in? Well, no, I went to a Black church a few times. Actually, no, I'm lying. I went to a Black church a lot. I forgot that whole part of my life. My daycare instructor also was the head of a church. Her name was Dana, the sweetest lady ever. And we did not sing that shit every day. What the hell? No. This is like a really popular church. Once again, we learned the song. I'm not saying I didn't learn the song, motherfucker. We learned. If anything, everybody around the country learns the song during Black History Month. Just like we learned that weird Titanic song. It was sad. Like, it was super weird. That shit was a weird period in elementary school. Yeah. Y'all remember that song? It was sad when that gray ship went down. What the fuck was that about? Anyway, yeah, we learned about it, but y'all acting like there was a family reunion where we're like, all right, guys, everybody huddle up. Y'all know us foundational black Americans gotta sing this song before every event. Nigga, no, that did not happen. Where are y'all getting that from? That was not a thing. It just wasn't. Anyway, I told him, I'm like, bro, I went to 3 different elementary schools. And my high school was across the street from Cottonfield. That is not hyperbole. That is fucking fact. And if y'all know Fayetteville, I lived on Strickland Bridge Road. It's the only, like, that's where Meadowwood is. Like, that's the only place that's probably more hood than that very specific area is the Murchison Road. And maybe Bragg Boulevard, but at that point, Bragg Boulevard was becoming more military. So, like, but Strickland Bridge, Murchison Road, Southern Black. And no, that was not a thing. I almost want to go to my my Facebook contact list, like, yo, y'all comment on this real quick. How many times have we seen this fucking song in school? Eidos Warrior. He's been singing this since preschool. I don't know if they meant every day or what, but like also singing the song, it's just weird because they're like, we sung it. Yeah, motherfucker, I told y'all we sung the song. When did it become a Black national anthem? Like, that's what I'm trying to understand. That's what I said. I responded. Does that make it the Black national anthem because the radio station played it and people know the song exists? I'm just trying to understand, guys. Because y'all not really getting. I told y'all, because the argument is everyone should know this song if you have Black family members. I'm like, but y'all telling me y'all heard this shit in school and church. Well, yeah, that too. So what the hell does that got to do with me being Caribbean? Well, and the fact that none of my other friends, like, once again, we learned the song, but we never were taught it was a Black fucking national anthem. Because it wouldn't make any sense considering the guy's Caribbean, once again, and the lyrics apply to literally all of the Black people that were part of this network of slave trade, right? Victims of the network of slave trade, generationally speaking. Yeah. Libby said, I learned this in elementary school. Yeah, I learned it too in elementary school. I'm just trying to understand. And then, like, there was this shit, which is hilarious. I'm gonna tell you the irony of this. It's like that's why you don't know. You're not Black American, even though I was born in New York and I lived here my whole life. And my mom was also born in the Bronx and lived here her whole life. But whatever. You're a child of immigrants. No. Your lineage and family are from the Caribbean. You are from the West Indies. My family is from. That's true. They're Bajan. Yeah. Stop the we stuff. You're of foreign descent. Well, dumbass, all of us are from foreign descent. We're not from America. It's kind of like the whole thing. Remember how most of us were brought here against our will? It's kind of. But hey, I'm gonna let him cook. So he posted a screenshot where I said I was responding to somebody else, a victim. I'm second generation Caribbean whose family is from the West Indian country that's even far removed from most of the problems of the West Indians had with slaves. The majority of both sides of my family wouldn't qualify for reparations, but sure, pointing out logic means playing the victim card, according to butthurt white boys who are literally always playing victim. Do y'all know what this tweet was for? That tweet was me advocating for reparations. And I was responding for somebody who was like, oh man, yeah, you're always playing the victim because you want reparations. I'm like, motherfucker, I wouldn't get reparations. What are you talking about? Not by any of the academically defined standards for who would receive reparations. Like, it's in the slave context, American slavery context. Like, I wouldn't get reparations. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. That's what the fucking ironic part of the whole shit. They're using a tweet where I'm like, yeah, nah, like, clearly I understand the dynamics of, like, the unique dynamics of American descendants of slaves versus the diaspora. Like, I'm not a fucking idiot, but I do know logic. He's using it to be like, you don't understand the issue. Even though you're literally arguing for reparations that you wouldn't even receive. Oh, man. I don't know what any of that shit has to do with anything. I'm like, we learned the goddamn song. We did not sing this every day in school. I was not taught that it was the Black national anthem because it was not called the Negro national anthem. Called the Negro anthem. And the guy who wrote the song, his allegiance was mildly tied to the U.S. He was from the Bahamas, and his parents fucking Haitian and Bahamian. Like, what the fuck are y'all talking about? But black people, they be getting so, bro. You know what's the problem with Black Twitter? I love Black Twitter. Black Twitter is hilarious. And we're gonna move on after I talk about this. But Black Twitter is hilarious. But y'all know the problem with Black Twitter? And this is really a social media thing with black people. But when it comes to the mixture of politics, pop culture, and just black issues in general, they be going way too hard to seek the validation of their black experience from other black people. Have y'all ever noticed that? For my black people in the chat, white people you can talk to, but just be careful. But have y'all ever noticed that there's this incessant need to prove how black they are? Like, nigga, I was a black person my whole life. I don't really need to get on Twitter and explain to y'all like my blackness. Trust me, the cops do a good enough job reminding me every single day. I got people in this very space that remind me every single day of my blackness. It's just, I'm like, hold up, are y'all getting in here? Y'all really trying to use my clout on Twitter to like circle jerk each other about how black y'all are because y'all are in this exclusive club of black Americans that knew that this was the Black national anthem before the fucking writer of the song knew that? I'm laughing, and then I'm fine. I'm looking through some of I got to a point where I just started entertaining myself by bothering people. Like, yo, you gotta go get some therapy. This ain't healthy for you. Like, I just got to a point where I was bored and I was, needed something to do for an hour. So I was on the road because y'all know my house almost burned down. Mountains and shit in the background, whatever. But I'm like, yo, y'all are all Biden voters for the most part, or Kamala voters, and y'all are really out here trying to flex y'all blackness. Not a good look. I can see whenever you vote for somebody like Joe Biden or Kamala Harris or even fucking Stacey Abrams or the ilk, I understand why you feel so like you feel it's necessary to validate your blackness, because you know that despite your blackness and the damage that those people have done to your community, you did it anyway because you wanted to fucking fit in and feel cool. Because you need to be part of some network, some clique that organizationally only profits or benefits you because of the white man pulling the strings. But you also know that same white man, if you go against the Democratic Party, will cut you the fuck off from your little network that you in your ambition. You little Cory Booker looking motherfucker. Like, that's why y'all run to Twitter every day seeking validation from white people who would fucking sell your ass out. Because like when you're trying to validate your blackness to black people, you're really trying to validate your blackness to the black network of people that can get you jobs and opportunity. But what you're really doing is acknowledging that I know that black network that can get you jobs and opportunity are really to work for who? Hillary Clinton. Really to work for who? David Washington Schultz. Really to work for who? Joe Biden. Really to work for who? Kathleen Hochul. Who really, like, we know, like, come on, bro. It ain't no different than Candace Owens or those type of people. Like, y'all not any different. Like, y'all sit here and talk shit about Candace Owens and do the same shit. But with social justice warrior costume on instead. Y'all can't even sit down and talk about black issues like how you should be talking about them. Why? Because then I'm gonna ask, because I fucking care about black issues. So yeah, man, what about that crime bill that Joe Biden never apologized for? How you feel about that, man? What about what's going on in the Congo right now? What about what's going on with the income inequality in the United States with black people and everybody else being the worst it's ever been? What about that shit, bro? Oh, actually, no, it's not the worst it's ever been because everybody's poor now. It's actually better, but everybody's poor. That's why it's not the worst it's ever been. White people are catching up. Out of curiosity. They don't ever want to have those conversations. But I do feel like somebody mentioned that it's probably a psyop. That is very likely because y'all got to remember the shit that there was like a psyop whenever I mildly, it definitely wasn't mildly. But whenever I was coming at Kamala Harris and Joe Biden last election in 2020, I was making it very clear. They're like, oh man, you gotta vote for Joe Biden. What about black people? Motherfucker, because I'm black, I'm not voting for Joe Biden. What the hell? And I was unafraid of what that could mean for my political prospects. And that was a problem. And so they were sending people, what's that motherfucker name? Roland Martin came at me saying some dumb shit. Talib Kweli came at me. They were just sending all their little coon tunes, trying to undermine me as if I need some fucking, I hate to say Uncle Tom's, but basically, is if I need Uncle Tom's who look for white people to validate their blackness to validate my black experiences. Or, to fucking read, because I can read. I don't need fucking black experiences to read everything Joe Biden's done for black people. There's 40 years of fucking information we can access. It's right there on the internet. Well, please, y'all, don't be like these people. Don't, just, this shit, like, I just can't even really believe that I got that form of entertainment over a national anthem from a Caribbean. A national anthem that that everybody supposedly sung every day. But what was funny to me is I was like, so hold up. So y'all all had this collective experience that in some way, form, or fashion, y'all sung this song every day, right? So my question was, if this is the Black National Anthem, and y'all were looking for alternatives for alternative solutions to this Kaepernick situation and the NFL race national anthem whole problem, right? Why did not a single motherfucker suggest this while the Kaepernick situation was ongoing? Like, hey, man, cool. So if you're going to sing the national anthem and you want Kaepernick to stand, how about at least playing the Black national anthem at the same time as a compromise? Or not at the same time, but right after the other. Where was that conversation about Lift Every Voice at for that entire situation? Because it was already apparently well known that Lift Every Voice was the Black national anthem. Supposedly. So that's what I was told yesterday. If it was so seared into the minds of Black Americans everywhere, why wasn't Lift Every Voice even suggested as a solution? It wasn't even brought up. Not talked about, not a near, not a. And this is as people are giving the history, by the way, excuse me, of the national anthem, which rightfully so. Like, there's a reason that we motherfuckers don't like to stand up for it. It's a very justifiable to not stand up for it. Like I said, I do not. And that was before Kaepernick. I just never made a big deal about it because it's my business. But why didn't nobody talk about Lift Every Voice then? Since it was just like fucking. It was a widely accepted solution to this problem. It was a widely accepted replacement, a widely accepted alternative. Why didn't nobody alternatively fucking suggest it? If it was just such a, like, y'all give a fuck because white people told y'all to be mad because they got mad about the shit. Now you're like, well, they only hate it because they're mad at black people having something, which is probably true. So now you're going to validate their dumbass self-righteousness by being a dumbass yourself? Come on, guys. That's like voting for Joe Biden just because they put up Donald Trump. Like, I'm going to vote for Joe Biden. Why? I'm tired of Trump being racist. Well, hold up real quick. Let me talk to you. That logic don't follow. I don't care. I got to do the opposite. Whatever they hate, I love. That's the way of the world. This is the way. Oh, man. We got a couple more topics to run. Good God. We got a couple of more topics to run through. Now, make sure y'all like this video. Make sure y'all share this video. Man. So, before we get started on that, I got super chat. Sparky, thanks for the super chat. Lift Every Voice was a song when I was a kid in the 1960s. This is the first time I've ever heard it called the Black National Anthem. That makes a lot of sense, considering it was not written by a black quote unquote national or a foundational Black American or an African American descendant of slaves. I don't know why he would write a song for y'all when he fucking wasn't one of y'all. But hey, I guess, hey man, it's y'all lie. I'll let y'all tell it. Anyway, man, so y'all heard Jon Stewart is back on The Daily Show. And he's pissing off liberals for the most basic level of commentary, like literally the most basic level of commentary about what we're all experiencing in the world. Like Joe Biden being as old as the pyramids of Giza, right? And just as dusty. So let's hear what he has to say in this recent. He's right. I mean, what? Dad, like this motherfucker said some crazy shit. Like he was not partial to only Biden or only Trump. He was very clear, like, nah, both of them are old. Cause like objectively speaking, both of these motherfuckers are old. Now, one seems to be more self-aware and present, right? One seems to have their wits about them a little bit more than the other. Once again, Joe Biden is aging like dust, effectively. But what I feel like, people, y'all correct me if I'm wrong. What I feel like, y'all remember the conversation we had the other day about Gavin Newsom? And I said, yeah, Biden's administration might have denied Gavin Newsom is going to be taking his place, or that he wants Gavin Newsom to take his place. Kamala Harris might have denied that they want Gavin Newsom to take his place. Some of the older Democratic Party elite have denied because of whatever benefit they have for Biden being in power, that Gavin Newsom might try to take his place, or that Biden is going to finish this shit out. But not everybody. I was very clear. I said, no, the entire Democratic establishment is not on the same page. And for Jon Stewart to come back, and I'm gonna show y'all a video in a second to show why I feel that way. For him to come back and the first thing this motherfucker does is, hey man, I'm just letting y'all know this motherfucker is old. Y'all, that's not a good sign. Because he didn't get the job to push the good gospel of the independent movement. He ain't get the job to push Jill Stein and Cornel West and RFK Jr. over the finish line. And he obviously didn't get the job to push Trump into power. So when you come out from your long hiatus, and it's not like people haven't been asking for Jon Stewart to come out and to rejoin the Daily Show, because honestly, objectively, he's funnier than fucking what's his name. He is funnier than him. But when you finally do come back, your first bit is, let's talk about how fucking old not Jon Stewart. Let's talk about how old Joe Biden is. It looked like you got the job to do one thing and one thing only. Make it socially acceptable and politically acceptable to acknowledge the fact that Joe Biden is old and replaceable. And the fact that he had to say, it's okay to talk about this. It's okay to acknowledge this. Yeah. You're making it okay. I mean, some people remember after that special report came out, everybody was acting like it wasn't okay. There was a whole goddamn PR campaign dedicated to discussing how it just was not okay to question Joe Biden's cognitive ability, even though they say he literally wouldn't be able to remember what he said if he was forced to sit in court and was charged with the crime. So looks to me, ladies and gentlemen, that there's a good chance that the fix is in. Because like I said, Jon Stewart was not put there to he wasn't put there to prop up Trump. We know that for a goddamn fact. And you got to look at this response from a CNN panel. That's when you know it's crazy, y'all. You know it's crazy whenever Jon Stewart comes back, and for some reason, CNN is like, I know we're not YouTube, but we're going to have to do a panel talking about this. What? Oh, man. Yo, if I get this right, y'all already know they call me Niko House. And y'all, if I get Gavin Newsom replacing Biden at the convention right, I ain't fucking, I'm retiring. I'm retiring. I can't do it no more. I can't keep being right and motherfuckers keep ignoring me. I'm just kidding. Am I? Maybe. Let's check it out.
Our politics lead, he's back. Jon Stewart made his return to The Daily Show on Comedy Central last night as the calendar inches closer and closer to what seems like an inevitable rematch between two candidates with firm grips on their party's nominations, and as President Biden's and former President Trump's influence on lawmakers on Capitol Hill has snarled anything from getting anything done there. Back with me is our political panel. So, Paul, as you know, Stewart made his triumphant return to late night satire. Take a listen.
back. You may be asking yourselves, it's a very reasonable question. I have committed a lot of crimes. From what I understand, talk show hosts are granted immunity, so it doesn't matter.
So he made fun of wherever the targets were, including President Biden's age and memory. And there were a lot of angry progressives on social media. Not that I generally listen to angry people on social media, but they thought that they accused him of both Zionism, although that's not what he did, et cetera.
First of all, there was zero angry progressives about this very specific topic. There was not a single progressive, genuine progressive, not a single one that was like, oh my God, I can't believe he acknowledges that Joe Biden is 188 years old. I can't believe he said that. I'll never listen to Jon Stewart again. Like, not nobody, not a progressive said that shit. Jesus Christ. But hey, man, he's like, not that I go on social media, but I heard from my producer that told me to say these specific words, that there were a bunch of angry progressives, because progressives are the ones voted for Biden. Everybody knows that.
Et cetera. What do you make of it?
I didn't see it, but he's known to be a both sides guy. He skewers both sides. That's his job. That's how he views things. I do think that was probably appropriate when the choice was like Obama or Romney. Okay, but for progressives, by the way, for a lot of non-progressives, a lot of conservatives, this is a choice between sanity and a guy who's an existential threat to our country.
I think
what? Hold up, what? Wait a minute. I want to make sure that we all heard that correctly.
Choice between sanity and a guy who's an existential threat to our country.
I think.
Let me run that one more time.
Obama or Romney. Okay, but for progressives, by the way, for a lot of non-progressives, a lot of conservatives, this is a choice between sanity and a guy who's an existential threat to our country.
Okay, yeah. What? Now, when you say sanity, can you define that for me? Is sanity referring to Sisi as the president of Mexico and working with the president of Mexico to get aid to Gaza? When you say sanity, I need you to use some descriptors, because beyond just being a fucking psychopath, like there is a context to sanity where you have to take into account one's ability to have control over their motor functions or thoughts, that I don't really feel like Biden meets the minimum qualifications for to be considered sane. Even if I like the guy, I just don't see like what the hell. Now, and if we're talking about Trump, because it's a threat between sanity and, excuse me, what he said is a difference between sanity and an existential threat to our nation. Okay, cool. You know what would probably be an existential threat is if you had a president or a former president in power who could not be held accountable for anything he did, no matter what he did. He can't even be accountable for not remembering what he should be accountable for. Okay? What I don't consider an existential threat to our country is a former president who cannot take a piss without being indicted for his piss hitting the goddamn toilet bowl too loud. That guy I'm not worried about. Not really. Not like uniquely. Because once again, guys, we had this conversation at the beginning of the election. If you want to call Trump a neo-fascist and I call Biden a crypto-fascist. And you know what the difference is? Neo-fascism is the fascism that you can criticize, but that crypto-fascism coming from Joe Biden, you are not allowed to criticize. Right? Joe Biden can be guilty of everything under the sun regarding Ukraine. Like, bro, we have all the evidence. The evidence is abundant. The cup floweth over with evidence, y'all. Hunter Biden connections, all of it. Other politicians being connected. Everything. Video evidence. Emails. Everything. Bank statements. Everything. And they're like, yeah, man, so can't do it. Sorry. What the fuck you mean you can't do it? Not enough evidence. All the evidence is right here. There's video evidence. Yeah, can't do it. So you think that guy who literally can't be held accountable for anything is less of a threat than the guy who can be held accountable for everything, including things he never did. Trump, who can be impeached for something that Biden literally did. I like the enemies and the adversaries that I can challenge without being fucking attacked. Nah, I like the enemies and adversaries that I can challenge without having my social media deleted and removed or whatever. Like, that's what was happening. Don't you, like, wouldn't y'all prefer that? Because that makes him less of an existential threat if you can be punished, or if he can be punished for the actions that he partakes in. Hell, he's by definition, he's less of an existential threat if he can be punished for things he didn't do. So even if the things that he did do, he got away with, y'all would find something he didn't do and punish him anyway. So Jon Stewart can't talk about both sides because one of the existential threats, it's a race between existential threat and insanity. What motherfucker? Who is saying? Like, we need to review these definitions because Joe Biden damn sure ain't saying, and Trump, the only way you can be an existential threat is if you can have enough power to avoid accountability for the things you did, for the corrupt things you did while you were in power. And that's not Trump. He won, which is weird. He doesn't really get punished for the corrupt shit he did while he was in power. He only gets punished for the shit he didn't do. Even though there's an abundance of fucking shit to punish him for. Yo, let me see if I can find some. Let's see if I can find his tweet. His reaction to this interview, because it was hilarious. Because you know, like when liberals, they go over the top with some shit, like they do the woe is me. Oh my God, we're so screwed. Oh my God, the world's coming to an end. One of those situations. Damn, I don't have it. That sucks. I don't think I have it. Yeah, no, I don't have it, unfortunately. There was one liberal who came out and was like, Jon Stewart isn't even funny. Jon Stewart is making fun of Joe Biden and them enabling Trump and da-da-da, blah, blah. And I'm like, bro, what? Y'all are upset at Jon Stewart. If you're really that worried that Biden could win because Jon Stewart acknowledges that, if you're really worried that Trump will win because Jon Stewart acknowledges that Biden is fucking old, like, y'all got some problems in November. Y'all got some problems in November. If that is a fear of yours, like, oh my God, I can't believe Jon Stewart is going to read verbatim Joe Biden's birth certificate. How dare he? Like, just give up. Y'all need to, shit, it might be a good idea to replace him with Gavin Newsom. It might be a good idea. Because unless they got a little bit more of that for Biden to take during those debates, like he took during the Trump debate. Hey, bro, like, hey, I'm not saying it happened. I'm just saying that Biden was a little bit too aware, more aware than what we are accustomed to during that debate. And I know they drug test before basketball games, but they don't drug test before presidential debates. So unless y'all got some more of that, I don't really, or a pandemic to stop the debates from happening, I don't see this shit ending well for Biden going toe to toe with Trump. I don't see it really. I just don't see it. And the fact that y'all worried about him being called old, like y'all worried about him being called old, but the Republicans are not worried at all about Trump being called old. That is like the bottom of the fucking list of things that do y'all not see how like that's a problem? Trump and Biden are not that far apart in age, and yet y'all are worried about Biden being called old, but Trump is laughing at the idea that y'all would attack him for being old. It's almost as if it's not really about the age as much as it is about the fact you have the fucking mental capacity of the crypt keeper. Maybe that's what you're worried about. And you're worried that people, if you keep bringing up the age, that people are going to acknowledge. Because in my opinion, when you bring up age, that's the most damning thing about Biden, because we'll be like, is it his age? Why are we complaining about his age? Because of his mental ability or lack thereof. Okay, well, why aren't we bringing it up with Trump? They're around the same age. Oh, well, shit, when you put it like that. It isn't the age, is it? And that's a conversation nobody wants to have. Let's get some of these super chats. Spark A, thank you. You said Lift Every Voice was a song when I was a kid. Oh, no, I read that one from. Took a calculus class at Fayetteville State University once. Oh, shit, for real? That's crazy. So I guess I'm technically alumnus. Small world. Hey, it was a very small world. I graduated from Jack Britt. Denazify Israel. Yep, I can support that message. Build a better war with bricks. Yep, with Putin in charge. Tell Lula I said hello and continue not selling out to globalist elites. See, I can't say that part though. I can't really tell him to continue to not sell out to globalist elites because he hasn't necessarily been doing a good job of that, at least policy. I guess at least he's called out Israel, but like Lula has let a lot of Brazilians down. I'm actually in the process of finding somebody who can translate a little bit better for me, so I can interview people on the street, like from the real Brazilians, not like Brazilians from Copacabana. I'm talking about like the everyday Brazilians that got to go live this shit. Because I talk to them, but like they ain't really rocking with them like that, y'all. They're not like the young people, the social media people. They're rocking with Lula, but like the truth is, boy, he ain't really done shit since he's been in presidency. Like he said he's gonna legalize marijuana. We're still waiting, but instead we got the BOPI, which is like the military police special forces here, going into Cidade Deus every day. Not every day, but like once every couple of months to do this grandstand like they're actually fighting fucking crime and they're just going to poor neighborhoods and beating up marijuana dealers and acting like they've done something with the money that they receive. Like so it's not really like different than under Bolsonaro in that regard. Yeah, it's kind of disappointing. I'm not gonna lie to you. Sparky sounds like Stewart setting up a younger candidate like Newsom or Kamala. Damn sure not Kamala, but probably Newsom. Because the party don't even like Kamala like that. So hold on, where the fuck? I'm missing a link. Let's see if I can find it. The reason I say we're not really getting a real Jon Stewart back is because, let's see if I can find this real quick. Because the other segment that he did. And I feel like we got to be clear about this so people know the complete picture and know. And this is actually part of the reason why I'm like, nah, this motherfucker was specifically set up to set the stage, to replace Biden. Not to give progressive some hope that there's actually going to be some objectivity on television. That shit ain't happening. We can go and kill that dream. But
it's the fighting is being done by the Ukrainians. They're the people who are being killed.
No, there are actually U.S. soldiers who've been killed. I covered this on Hotspot, actually. There are U.S. soldiers who've been killed, and the family didn't know about it until the Ukrainian delegation brought the news to them, because the U.S. embassy and the U.S. government did not have the authority to do so, because technically speaking, the U.S. soldier was fighting in secret for this foreign legion that they have. So that's bullshit, actually, but whatever. I don't understand why that would even be on The Daily Show. I'm not gonna lie to you. Why the fuck would that be on The Daily Show? That's not a conversation. Like, don't get me wrong. If he's pressing her, like, that's a different conversation, but he didn't really press her. That's a propaganda piece. I don't even know who the hell that is. I'm not going to lie to you people. I don't know who that is. But I will tell you this. What the fuck was that? I hope that, like I said, y'all, at the beginning of the stream, I said I'm a little bit worried because Americans seem to have gotten dumber in my time off of the last couple of years. But at least not when it comes to the issue of Ukraine, because I hope that people heard the logic that, yeah, man, we give them weapons and shit. We give neo-Nazis weapons and that's how we get safer. Please explain that logic. And because just from a pragmatic and practical perspective, y'all losing the war. You ain't winning the shit. So there's that. But beyond that, how is giving Nazis weapons and provoking a nuclear superpower making the world safer? It doesn't. That's the answer, guys. It doesn't make it safer, actually. Yeah. But the fact that Jon Stewart had this, once again, because of this interview, I just can't really believe that he's just trying to both sides, Donald Trump and Joe Biden, and be objective and bring criticism to, like, nah, bro, he there to play the game. He's there to play the game, and that game is Gavin. Book it. I wish I could bet on it. I probably can. Oh no, I can't. I'm in Brazil. Y'all didn't hear that. But seriously, I really wish I could bet on that shit because I really believe it. That's open it up with that. Like he's setting. I'm gonna put it like he's setting the table for the U.S. agenda, right? I feel like that's a good way to put it. So if he's setting the table for the U.S. agenda, and the first fucking dish he lays down is a big ass plate of Biden is old as shit, what do y'all think is coming next? What do y'all think the overwhelming belief of the Democratic elite is? Probably that Biden's old as shit needs to be replaced, right? Yeah, probably. I got 2 more quick stories. Maybe 3, but 2. Y'all, I feel like, bro, I don't want to get my hopes up, y'all. I really don't. I don't want to get my hopes up. I don't want to get my hopes up. But I got to have something to believe in, goddammit. Tucker Carlson, I feel like he's almost there, y'all. He's so close. He's so close to getting it, y'all. This is one of his recent conversations that he had about the U.S. engaging in conflicts in the Middle East.
How on earth the United States of America is vetoing the stoppage of fire, how a country would veto not to continue war, how somebody is against stopping a war.
The
United States is, for this moment, is the most powerful country in the history of the world. So if you were to frame this in terms we're all familiar with, which are the most basic terms, the terms of the family, the United States would be dad, would be the father. And the father's sacred obligation is to protect his family and to restore peace within his walls. So if I come home, I have 4 children, if I come home from work and 2 of my kids are fighting, what's the first thing I do? Even before I assess why they're fighting, before I gather the facts and know what's happening.
I stop the fight.
I stop fighting.
Yes.
So if I come home and I have 2 kids fighting and I say, go, beat the crap out of them, I am evil. Because I have violated the most basic duty of fatherhood, which is to bring peace. Because I have the power. I'm the only one who can bring peace. And so if you see a nation with awesome power abetting war for its own sake, you have a leadership that has no moral authority, that is illegitimate. And I mean that too. I'm not even referring to any specific region or conflict. I mean generally. And I'm deeply offended by that, deeply. And it's something that I try to express, and I'm often called a traitor for saying that. It's the opposite. I say that because I believe in the United States. I think it has been a morally superior country. And if we allow our leaders to use our power to spread destruction for its own sake, that is shameful. It's a binary, okay? It's a black and white. It's a 0 and a 1. You are either creating or you're destroying. You're improving or you're degrading.
Bro, he's so close. He almost there, dog. He like, I don't know what. I feel like this trip to goddamn Russia was like damn near visiting Mecca for a Muslim for Tucker Carlson, bro, because he's so close, man. He's so damn close. Like, it makes me want to believe in him genuinely, right? I agree with him a lot of the times lately, of course, but it makes me want to believe in him. Like, damn, do we really actually have somebody who's going to have a microphone like this? Kind of in a similar way to Russell Brand, but like, you know, like somebody really came to the fucking anti-establishment, anti-war light to this degree in such a short amount. No, it wasn't a short amount of time. It was 2-3 years. And we actually kind of watched it play out with Jimmy Dorgan on the show and Glenn Greenwald go on the show. And I mean, there's been a plethora of people that go on his show and kind of like, yo, you should pay attention to this. I can't believe you didn't know. So like, shit, sometimes smart people don't like fucking being stupid. They don't like looking stupid. And when you find out the information, it's very hard at times to ignore it. So maybe that's what's going on. I want to see if I can find this other video from Tucker. That I also found kind of revealing about just how he sees the world now. Oh yeah, this is it. I got ulterior motives for why I support this video, but you'll see in a second. Because it's because of the other person he's talking about in the video.
If you're playing reckless, I've got 4 draft age children. So if you're playing recklessly, fast and loose with their lives, then I have a right to despise you. And I do. So if you're Nikki Haley, who's running for president, or Ben Shapiro, or half the people I see on television casually mentioning the possibility of nuclear war or sending Americans to fight in the Middle East, or in any way involving us in a war that has nothing to do with prosperity and peace at home, nothing, in other words, to do with us, Americans, then I have a right to call you out and be really offended because it's my family. They live here. It's not a joke to me. There's nothing abstract about it. You know, I've got 4 draft age children.
Maybe that was it. Maybe it's the kids, bro. Kids would do something to you. But the fact that he's like, nah, I have a right to despise you. Nikki Haley, obviously. Ben Shapiro, like, bro. I don't know. What do y'all think, bro? I need to know in the comment section. Do y'all believe that this is real? Do y'all believe like this transformation? Because like I'm generally pretty good at figuring out if somebody's just saying some shit to say some shit. But and like when you're just saying the right thing, but you're full of shit, like Vivek Ramaswamy, for example, saying the right shit. He's saying the right thing, but he's full of shit, and we all kind of, you could tell. But Tucker, it's not the conclusion that I'm impressed by. It's how he's getting there. Like now he's like, bro, no, I got 4 draft age kids. Like my kids want to fight these fucking wars. What the fuck? Hell no. Or his allusion to the responsibility and the accountability that comes with having so much power. And the poignant way he makes the point, it's black and white. It's either you're creating or you're destroying. Like what? That came out of Tucker Carlson's mouth? That's crazy. Because I would have never expected that. Would have never expected that coming from Tucker Carlson, of all people. Because he's usually, he'll nuance his way into supporting one conflict over another, right? He'll nuance his way into supporting one neoconservative narrative over another at times. Even if he gets it mostly right, the way he gets there, questionable at times. But when you go from, I can see why he went to Afghanistan, to you're creating or you're destroying, you've entered into a different stratosphere of seeing the world. I got to really take a trip to Russia and experience these goddamn subways, y'all. I got to experience this metro system. Because these metro systems got people. Tara Reid live there now. Fiorella knows what I'm talking about. I mean, everybody talks about the metro. These motherfuckers see the metro systems in Russia and come back born again anti-war activists. Like, what? He went to Russia for a couple of days and came back like this? On some fuck Ben Shapiro shit? Yo, I think Tucker might have did some shrooms or something, man. I don't know what he did. I don't know. But I'm a try to lead with grace. I'm gonna try to see where he's at. Cause listen, y'all, I like believing in people. I like believing in redemption because like everybody loves a good redemption story. I haven't always been perfect in everything in my life, right? I voted for Obama in 2008. That's bad enough for me. I still got nightmares about that dumbass decision I made that I just didn't know any better. I thought I knew better. That's what made it even worse. I thought I knew better, but I didn't, right? So like, I like to believe in a good redemption story. I always tell y'all about that story where my brother, there's this guy who literally came from one of the most racist families in the history of Alabama, literally owned like the 3rd most slaves. They helped to finance the Civil War. This man met my brother and like just was willing to cut off his entire fucking family for them disrespecting my brother, who's black, obviously. And like it changed everything because my brother had patience with him and helped explain to him, like, nah, bro, that shit that you were taught is bullshit. Come hang out with us, bro, like so you can actually experience what it's like to be around us because you never met a black person in his life. And that man is like an amazing human being now, right? And teaching his family to be the same. So like I like to believe in redemption. And when you see the progression, the way you've seen it from Tucker, and once again, it's not the conclusion, it's not even the destination. Like, yeah, I'm anti-war. A lot of motherfuckers would claim to be anti-war, right? Until it's time to do some anti-war shit. Everybody was anti-war until it was time to call somebody in the Saudis. Everybody was anti-war until it was time to support neo-Nazis in Ukraine. Everybody was anti, you know what I'm saying? Like there's a lot of people that will even some libertarians, pro-Trump people, they're anti-war until it's time to support the genocide in Gaza. Right? Anti-war. They could see Iraq, but couldn't understand what the problem was with us being in Afghanistan. Like, I like how he got to the conclusion. He seems to be going through a metamorphosis that I don't even know if he himself is understanding. Like, probably he's going through the same thing a lot of us went through, which is, how the fuck have I been wrong for so long about these very obvious facts? But then you kind of get to go through what he went through when he tried to, or when he did interview Putin. It's like, oh shit. Because when somebody tried to conduct a genuine interview with a world leader that the government doesn't like, they try to ban that journalist from the country. That's why people don't know what the fuck is going on. It's not even necessarily their fault. We are limited by our experiences. And if our experiences are primarily comprised of proper fucking ganda, how can people reach these conclusions without going through extensive effort combined with luck and exposure to the facts? So I wanted to show y'all Elon Musk is still a cuck. Just want to show you this real quick. Still a cuck. Still an insidist. So first of all, did y'all know? Y'all know Mossad? God, I hope I don't really care if I'm pronouncing his name right, but I think I'm pronouncing his name right. Mossad on Twitter. He used to be anti-war. He was a leftist. He was considered a leftist for a long time, guys. You know, then this war popped off and he get exposed, and this interview comes up. We ain't gonna watch all of it, but it's a very important part that you should hear.
Believe it, in the book, you let the cat out of the bag. You're actually a Mossad agent.
Oh, you know, you are the first person on my media tour to actually either have read that far into the book or to mention it. I thought it would be the top.
Can't believe anybody read his book, but whatever.
You let the cat out of the bag. You're actually a Mossad agent.
Oh, you know, you are the first person on my media tour to actually either have read that far into the book.
I'm 2 hours in, bro. This green screen is all up in my way.
Story in every show.
I'm just trying to chill. I'm trying to get comfortable.
Serious stuff, and most people, you know, they're not as candid about this stuff. You know,
I thought that maybe I had extended this statute of limitation, that they won't come after me at this point. Do you want me to tell that story?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So that actually is something that I discuss in the chapter on play, the importance of, you know, living your life with a playful mindset. Now you might say, how does the Mossad fit with play? Well, so when I was about 18 years old, I had a cousin who had come from Israel, who said, hey, you know, I have a friend of mine who would like to meet you, to chat with you. I'm thinking, for what purpose? So, oh, you know, he'll talk to you. So I meet this gentleman. He says, oh, there are some guys who would like to meet you and see if you're interested in working with them. And so I meet these gentlemen who don't introduce themselves as being Mossad agents or whatever. They say, oh, you know, we're interested in checking the quality of our security in various environments. Would you be interested in being the person who does some of these tests for us? I said, okay, tell me more. So the first mission that I went on was I was asked to go to an El Al office in downtown Montreal, walk in there. Everything was scripted. They told me exactly what to do. Walk in with a bag, ask some questions, then take the bag, leave it there, and end up leaving without taking the bag.
Did you actually look in the bag before?
I did not look in the bag. I'd like to think that there weren't any bombs. And so I did that, and then a security person came, oh, you forgot your bag, and so on. So the test was done successfully. I don't remember exactly how long after. A couple of weeks later, they asked to meet me again. They said, we have a more challenging mission for you. You are now a student at, I think it was University of Montreal. It's a fake story that they're asking me to play a role. You're working on a paper, whatever, Israeli-Palestinian conflict. You'd like to interview the Israeli consul in Montreal. And what we're going to do is in your glove, you know, Montreal is a very cold place. In your gloves, there's going to be a fake gun. And the idea is to then see if they catch. Now, this one was a lot more elaborate in that there were multiple layers of security. And in the final layer, if I can get through all of the different things, there would be a very detailed pat down. And I remember telling them, but what if he finds the gun, and I mean the fake gun? I said, don't worry, we're behind this. Like it's secure. And so I go through all the stages.
So first of all, I mean, I guess the first takeaway is the Mossad runs the entirety of the University of Montreal. So that was interesting information that I was not previously aware of until just fucking now, or until I watched this video. That's crazy. Some Canadians probably should know that. Secondly, this man came out and talked about being Mossad so casually. Like, yeah, man. It's like he's cool. He thinks it's cool to be a Mossad agent. And so, of course, as this information comes out, Elon Musk used it as an opportunity to fucking embarrass himself once again. As you all know, he went to Israel, got his little talking to. They told him to shut the hell up and kiss the ring. And so somebody came at God's side and they tagged Elon Musk, and Elon Musk suspended the account. And then he responds trying to make light of the situation by saying, I have actual Mossad merch, by the way, but the CIA has some really great merch too. Oh yes, Joe Biden is a mix of Epictetus, Newton, and Darwin. And Elon Musk is just responding. He's like on his dick. I mean, bro, come on, guys. Oh, look, this platform is dying. Now God's side, who was not a big fan of Elon Musk before, all of a sudden is pushing for X to be successful and is retweeting God's side. And almost like they need this platform to be successful because they know that, yeah, as much, they're not really pro free speech, but you also, like, Twitter is the largest platform in the world. You also need Twitter. That's the fucking catch of it all, right? So that's why they let him do a hostile take. They let Elon Musk do a hostile takeover to buy Twitter. That should have never happened. And just like when he took over fucking Tesla, it's losing money. It isn't surviving without the federal government. Elon Musk, more posts were viewed on this platform over the Super Bowl than there are humans on the planet. Him and God's side, best friends. Yeah, man. Y'all look at this, man. I'm not capping. This is real life. Why? Why is he so weird, y'all? Not weird. Like, why is he so okay? Do you know how? I'm gonna tell you why he's okay. So okay with being openly an op. Openly. You know why? My fucking fans don't care. They're gonna still pretend I'm pro free speech. They're gonna pretend because I didn't suspend everybody that everybody's on the platform still. Like, yeah, you didn't suspend everybody, but where Garland Nixon at, y'all? How long did it take him to let Alex Jones back on? The only reason he let Alex Jones back on the platform was to do what? To spew Zionist talking points, unfortunately. And then we ain't really heard from Alex Jones doing anything controversial since. I'm shadow banned yet again. I got shadow banned and search banned for quote tweeting what Ben Shapiro tweeted. That was it. I got and I know that was why, because they tried to suspend my account for quote tweeting it, saying it was a violent picture. I'm like, motherfucker, I know it was, first of all, it was a fake picture, it was AI render. But either way, I know it was a violent picture because I said it in my tweet. And I was literally saying in the tweet, why does Ben Shapiro get to tweet this, but people keep getting suspended for tweeting this? And they threatened to suspend me and said I had to delete the tweet. And after that, I got a search ban. Yeah. Y'all remember whenever Elon Musk went on that tirade of banning or suspending multiple pro-Palestine accounts, like 15 in a day, and the only reason he didn't get away with it was because everybody noticed the pattern? Yeah. But he knows his people, his little jock riders, are Now, I don't know how long it's going to last because he's already pissed off a couple of them. But like, you just have to know that your sycophants are so plentiful and so loyal and so damn oblivious that you can openly be a simp for the Mossad and no one is going to care and they're still going to kiss your ass. That's crazy to me, bro. That is crazy to me. How, bro? I don't get it. I do not get it. And it be real people too. It be real people that actually believe Elon Musk is a free speech absolutist. As he caveats, well, not all free speech though. He always does it. It's crazy, bro. Let me get to some of these super chats and then we're going to get up out of here. Sparky, appreciate you. I forgot about Lula providing some of the regime change to Haiti. Yeah, I was going to mention that, by the way. And that was his last term. Sparky, my brother's Brazilian in-laws say that Lula is limited in what he can do by the people who allow him back in. Yeah, I mean, it's true. But you ran for president. You knew that you were going to be limited in what the fuck you can do. You knew that. Or you knew they were going to try to. But that's what pisses me off about situations like that. So you had intentions on half-stepping, knowing what you were going up against. Then why did you run for president? Why didn't you help somebody who actually was going to be willing to fight run instead? Out of curiosity. Lula did Argentina a favor by getting them invited to BRICS. Milei refused it. That was a mistake. Milei could have played the BRICS economy and the globe was... Yeah, actually, you're right about that. But Milei is also an idiot. He's an idiot. That boy is stupid. He's dumb, but he's also a Zionist. So, he be going through the humiliation ritual in Israel too. Tucker's led a sheltered life, so he's just now learning, I think. He may actually be genuine. Yeah, that is, left to be seen. But I'm genuinely hoping that he's coming to the light. Like I said, his path, the route that he's taking to get to his conclusions is different than the past. For real. And Victor said, hey man, what the fuck is a foundation of Black American? Man and chicken eye. That is how a lot of the African American descendants of slaves refer to themselves. In other words, it's what I like to affectionately refer to as the family reunion Black people. You got about 4 or 5 generations, all of them live in the same general area. My grandfather, he isn't my biological grandfather, but he's the grandfather who raised us. He's from Oklahoma. He's part of like that big ass house unit that's out there in Oklahoma and Texas. Danwell House Jr. is he's my cousin technically through my grandfather. And when I tell you all these motherfuckers look like that, if I show y'all a picture of all my cousins and my grandpa and his brothers, they all look the same. It's crazy. But yeah, there's a bunch of them out there. They all know each other. You know what I'm saying? It's like you could build a damn a football team and then have a whole crowd watching them. That's how many family members they all have with the same last name and they all know each other. Generally, that's what they're referring to. So I get it. I understand wanting to identify yourself uniquely. I get it. Whatever. It's just weird when some of them get on this pedestal of yeah, we have this very unique experience. And because shit, if y'all really want to talk shit about the contributions, because obviously they helped build America, that's a different conversation. But they even talk about oh, look at the Black culture, Black this, Black that. I'm gonna tell y'all some shit that people don't really talk about. And I know this because I know my culture. So my family's lineage is Bayesian. And we have a very unique trait about us, which is that unlike the rest of the West Indies, we didn't have a bunch of Indians come to that's my camera, y'all ignore that. But we didn't have a bunch of I didn't get to plug it in. But we didn't have a bunch of Indians come to Barbados because they're Hindu. What happened was the Muslims that were being persecuted in Bangladesh, or what has become known as Bangladesh, were forced to go to Barbados which is the furthest west island of the West Indies, and they have like their whole own thing. But the thing is, when they came to the States, they had to assimilate in a way. That's why you don't really got the pride that you see within the like the Trinities that they boast about being Trini all the time. Obviously, Jamaicans and I mean, you go on the list, all of them, right? But like, if you know how that shit goes when you come to a new country, it's about you got a network. That's how you get opportunity and shit. But if they find out you're from Barbados, you weren't gonna get the opportunity. So you just, I'm Caribbean, and now we're gonna leave it at that type shit. So what ends up happening is they assimilate to such a degree that they actually don't have an identity. So they're forced, every individual is forced to have, for the most part, their own unique identity. Hollywood figured this shit out, that we have very unique. Now we don't really have our own identity. Like we're not a monolith, right? We have similar experiences to Black people, but we also have our own thing because we're not always accepted within the quote unquote foundational Black American community, right? So you just become your own thing. There's some probably scientific reasons for that. Like literally, there's like a visceral knowledge that we are the same, but we're not the same. And not really anybody knows where it comes from because a lot of Barbadians, Bajans specifically, assimilate to such a point where no one's really asked them where they're from. But you look Black enough, so it's what it is. So what happens is Hollywood takes this, they realize, oh shit, man, these people got some really unique features. So they were able to pass off Bajans as like they're acceptable enough for white people because of their features. But also, and their unique features, they also have this uniqueness to them that forced them, like the unique way they grew up, isolated, but also unique due to isolation, made a lot of them extra talented, and just their personalities they have larger than life personalities, and they don't really give a fuck about the status quo or the norm. So what ends up happening? You end up having a situation where Hollywood can put a Black person out there that's marketable to white people. So, Cuba Gooding Jr., for example, even though Morris Chestnut is objectively more handsome, somehow Cuba Gooding Jr. ends up as the star of Boys in the Hood, right? Very unique features. Features that you don't even see. Like if a person was half Black, half white, you know what I mean? Those are just very unique features that he has. He's Bayesian. His brother is obviously too. Megan Good is Bayesian. Obviously, Rihanna is Bayesian. LL Cool J is Bayesian. A$AP Rocky is Bayesian. That's, A$AP Rocky growing up, despite, he's Black, dark, technically speaking, he's a dark-skinned individual, but his hair texture and his bone structure are very, very unique for a dark-skinned individual. It's because he's Bayesian. So A$AP Rocky, there's a whole A$AP mob. Yeah, he's the most talented, but he also is the most unique because he just had to find a unique niche since he didn't fit in with other niches in the Black community in Harlem. Like I believe Will Smith is also Bayesian. I mean, there's like DJ Grandmaster Flat. Bro, there's like a long ass list. Like effectively Bayesians are largely responsible for popular Black hip hop culture. Not necessarily for the right reasons, but like that's what happened because Hollywood figured out, oh shit, like we could kind of like use this to our advantage. And then Bayesians excelled in those roles and no one knew that they were Bayesian. You got to think about what they did with Rihanna is like the best example you could fucking think of. Think about it. They had Rihanna's old Bayesian ass come out and the first thing they did was make her make a fucking Jamaican type song, Pon de Replay. And everybody swore to God Rihanna was Jamaican because they can blend in with, we can blend in with anybody and anything whenever we need to. Why take LL Cool J out of Queens? It wasn't like LL Cool J was the best rapper of his era, but he was uplifted out of Queens, which is not an easy thing to do as a rapper. Like, I know we always talk about Nas, but like Nas is uniquely talented. To be honest, I think Nas is fucking Bayesian. Don't correct me. I might be fucking wrong about that, but I think Nas is Bayesian. But I'm not. Rakim is also Bayesian. He's not Bayesian. If I'm not mistaken, I feel like Nas might be Bayesian. Rapper. No, Nas isn't. Nas isn't. He's actually African. That's where his. Yeah, he's actually African. But I was just saying it would have been funny because it's actually seems to be a consistent theme. But anyway, yeah, man. So like that's some good history for y'all. It's a thing. Like so ASAP Rocky, right? People don't know that his nickname Rocky is actually originated from Rakim, who he also coincidentally kind of raps like. And Rakim is Bayesian. That's why his family, that's why ASAP Rocky's parents named him that. And one of the biggest, I don't know if y'all saw like how hype everybody was whenever Rihanna and ASAP Rocky got together, but the reason why is because it's the first Bayesian power couple. And so all the Bayesians were super hype about it because that actually never happened before that we can remember. So, yeah, man. So it's BAGA. So our Bayesians not really African. Bayesians are like, we're like the rest of the West Indies. We have a mix of indigenous, Desi, and African. But if you are familiar with, people from Bangladesh, even though they look Indian, if you are familiar with them, you know, like they still don't look Indian. Like they look Indian, but not really. And so people from Bangladesh are unique to their region already. And when you mix that with that very unique type of Desi with West Indians, or with Barbadians and a very, very small minority of the West Indies, we come out looking like this. As if you've ever seen my mom is a very, very unique looking woman. She's absolutely beautiful. And I've always been confused as to why she looks like that growing up until I was able to actually figure out the history of Barbados. So my mom has this beautiful long hair. She's mixed. She's also indigenous, but she's this beautiful long hair. She has freckles just like I do. She always goes through these weird fluctuations of being dark sometimes and being light sometimes. Long eyelashes when we were growing up. Like, she's just unique bone structure. All that shit. Like, but a lot of those features we get from, if you're part of in which most of the ones who migrated here 70s and the 80s, they come from the Desi ethnicity. Like they're mixed with the Desi ethnicity. So yeah, man. Damn, black people are complicated. Yeah, man, we are, bro. Black people are fucking complicated as hell. Black people are complicated as hell, bro. Like we ain't even get into Kenyans and like black Egyptians, which people always like, no, black Egyptians don't, that's not a thing. Nah, bro, there are black Egyptians. I'm gonna figure out shit out and what the name of the city is. The black Egyptians don't live in Cairo. Cairo is the city that was constantly being invaded by other Arab countries. The black Egyptians live in South Egypt. Like those are the original Egyptians. So like, yeah, they were actually black. I saw all the videos and saw the people. Yeah, it was crazy. And then you get into like Ethiopians, and I'm like, I don't know why the fuck y'all look so different. Like Ethiopians look way different than other Africans. So which is okay, bro. Like, I don't know why people act like it's. Yeah, it is different shades of black. Can you believe it? But guess what? If we all get put over by the cops, we got an equal chance of getting shot. And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so much for tuning into this live stream episode of For the People Podcast. Make sure y'all like this video. Make sure y'all share this video. There's a link to donate to help Gaza in my description. If you go to that, that'd be dope. I'm also going to once again post my Telegram link for you guys to share. My camera died, by the way, so that's why y'all can't see me. But I posted my Telegram link for y'all to join and share and keep up with all of our news and content updates. I'm gonna post that shit in the chat. Here you go. You can donate. You can become a patron on Patreon. You can donate through Bitcoin. You can donate through Cash App. All that shit is in the description. Sparky, thank you. There was a plane crash in South Asia from a flight originating from Canada. as a result of a bomb planted in Canada with the same MO as God's side described. You're lying. What? Oh, man, I gotta look that up. Hey, send me a link to that. Send me a link to that. That's crazy. That is also not even all that. Black. Obama is just black. Yeah, you know, he Obama is Obama. I guess, you know, he's black, I guess. What pissed me off about Obama, what always pissed me off is like, he adopted all of the black charisma. Like, son of a bitch. He was raised by his white mom, but somehow he adopted all the black American charisma, but his dad and his stepdad are both Kenyan. Like, how do you do that? We're living in Chicago, I guess. But yeah, man, it pisses me off, bro. Because he pisses me off with how charismatic he is. I can't even, that's one of the reasons I hate him so much. Because like you keep falling for it. Like he's like, damn, no wonder I fell for that shit. I almost fell for it twice. There be days when I'm watching him, I want to laugh. I'm like, I can't laugh at you. You're fucking evil, you bastard. Like, but he's still charismatic, man. He putting spells on people. All right, people. Love you guys, man. Thanks for sticking around. See y'all tomorrow. I got Compton J coming on tomorrow. So y'all definitely want to come tune in. I'm gonna be on Harlan's Media tomorrow as well. So yeah. And while I also got y'all here, go if y'all on Twitter, go spam my retweets and shit, man. We're trying to get out of this shadow. We're trying to get out of this shadow ban. So y'all go spam, retweet, all that shit. Love you guys. Always remember more than anything else, find your balance.